Hello, welcome to Show Me the Money Rugby League TV and the full 80-minute podcast. I'm Matt Short. We'll get the elephant out of the room straight away. I'm not Mick Gledhill. We don't know where Mick Gledhill is. Is Craig trying Mick Gledhill?
We're just
right
trying
now?
to ring him. Yeah, he's not been seen in 48 hours after a magic weekend.
This is a plea. If you know where Mick Gledhill is, let us know. Because I've never seen Craig as worried.
Listen, he was seen in the corporate at the Magic with his good friend Ralph Rimmer. We've actually got no photos of Ralph with Mick. It's just Mick telling us. But Mick is somewhere in Newcastle, and if you see him, please contact the show.
Other place.
We've got the transfer request. The great Matt Shaw to take his place. If you think he's better than Mick, please no.
You can't afford me every week.
Correct.
There's no way. Although you did give me a good full English this morning.
Well, Mick does it for a chili. So.
I want having that. I got 2 sausages as well. Wow. They were good. No, I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me. Sure, Mick will be back very soon. He's probably got a bit of an hangover from Friday night, hasn't he? But we'll talk about the Bulls a bit later on. There's only one place to start. Magic weekend. And where do you start? Because it was a weird weekend in that there was so much riding on so many games this weekend, and it's hard to really say which were the most important, which were the most pivotal. But I think it's hard to look past Wakefield Toulouse because that's blown everything open, hasn't it, gents? We're at a point now where it's very realistic that Toulouse could stay up, and the way they did it, just a crazy game. And I think you've got to worry for Wakefield now, don't you think?
Yeah, I'd say, yeah, the alarm bells are ringing. I think they were looking comfortable 2-3 weeks ago. They had it in the bag, and then all of a sudden, Magic Weekend's come across, and it's all blown back. It's all blown back up. I think they should have won. I think they should have won. I think the game, it just had a strange flow to it. I always felt comfortable with Wakefield, to be honest, and then all of a sudden, next thing I know, Toulouse are up and they've won the game. So I think the Dave Fafita yellow card was the big pivotal moment that changed the game. I think they got 2 quick tries straight after that, didn't they? So
They were half time, wasn't it? And then
after half time they got 2 quick tries, and then it were good night from there. And then I think they fell apart, didn't they? I think they fell apart. They were comfortable and they just going lower, and it didn't get better for them. They didn't fight back, and they fought back a little bit, but I think Toulouse are now favourites to stay up. Put it out there.
We were lucky enough after the game we had a box, and Corey
I'm wondering how long it'd take to get there.
One of our 4 boxes. No. So Corey came up, and I said to Corey, how did that go? How did you feel it went on the pitch? Off the pitch, I thought Toulouse were going to win after 25 minutes.
Why did you?
Yeah, I thought Wakey had it all in bad, but I thought that if Toulouse could complete it an high completion, Wakey might come with some mistakes. And then when obviously the Dave incident happened, but if you looked at the time of the game, the flow, Wakey were doing what they do, they throw it about, they're very expressive. I thought Toulouse, if they got field position, would get him. I don't know why, I just did. That last 20 minutes got to be alarming. Fitness levels of Wakey were remarkably dropped down. I don't know if you've got the heart rate on them, but I bet you there were some tired bodies. Now, we've said this before on show, if you recruit, I'm not going to say slow legs because it's not for me to say that, but if you recruit slow twitch and you've got an age, whatever, I think sometimes it is hard. I actually said we had Ryan Hampshire, and I said to Ryan, I don't fancy any old legs in this. I didn't fancy cat. You know what I mean? The old, because it was. I don't think people understand how hot it was. It was literally nearly 100 degrees. It was ridiculously hot playing in that. Toulouse are used to that, and I knew that they'd finish strong. I knew it, thinking, well, they do this every week. Wakefield looked like they were zapped in that last 20. Corey said, wow, it was. Now, your problem is, has panic already set in? It has now. I don't think it has before. I sensed in the squad and in the club that they just thought Toulouse are down. I don't think they do now. I think the shit, if we can say that, the shit has hit the fan. And I think there'll be some major questions. And then a big point here is what I said this to Corey. When you'll know this, when you're not if you're doing contracts for people who are leaving at this time, and half of that squad is probably leaving, you've even got bigger problems. Because, listen, this is not a dig at any players, but when players are playing and they're thinking of themselves and the families at this stage, they're probably not thinking of Wakey first unless you've got a 2-year extension on. If you're out of contract now, you're playing for your cent to get a deal. If Michael and the staff haven't come up to you for a deal yet, you're playing to show other clubs what you can do. That's not a good team ethic. I thought Leeds were very popular champions at the time. Saints, very high retentions. Gary did all the business in the day. Mike Rush, all the business were done very early and for long 4-year deals, 3-year. Do you know why they do that? They do that so there's a calmness when it comes to this stage of season. Leeds always played well in playoffs. No one understood why, but it was obvious why. They were all playing together year after. The history plays 2, most, maybe 3. You'll know more than me on this. How many Wakefield players are contracted for next year?
Oh, I mean, they've got a fair few contract, but there's a lot leaving. You know, Jacob Miller expected to go to Cass. You've got James Batch off to OKR. There's a few more that I'm definitely missing in there. They're already gone. You know, they're already gone. We spoke about this off air, didn't we? If you look at the 2 teams there, you've got Wakey, you've got all those players that are leaving or off contract, no, they're leaving, whatever. Tom Johnson, another one, he's got a Catalans, hasn't he? You flip that, and you look at Toulouse, all the French lads don't come over here. They could get more money over here, but they like being in Toulouse. They like the lifestyle. Why wouldn't you? It's, you know, a beautiful part of the world. They're playing because they want that contract, where Wakey probably doesn't. They probably don't have that same attachment.
Well, I bet there were some Wakey players thinking if Toulouse stay up, I hope they have a look at me. I think, you know, I dare bet there was some going, I need to play well here because that is somewhere I fancy. So I think there'd have been a percentage. It's very worrying. I'm speaking to Michael today after being off air. It'll be interesting because Michael's pretty cool with everything at the moment. I didn't sense any panic. Willie's not a panicker. If anybody who knows Willie Poaching, the last thing Willie's going to do is start ranting and throwing things in church. He's just not in. I think Franny's got a bit of that in him.
Yeah. But Franny's quite a laid-back fella.
You've got it. So if I said to Corey, it's like, no panic. The messages are, no panic, we've got this. I challenge that and say panic. And intensity levels have got to walk because they've got to get a result. Who have they got this week?
Well, right, so here's the thing. Next 5 games for both clubs. So Toulouse have got, their next 3 games are all at home. Against Leeds, winnable. I know Leeds have picked up a little bit, but you go winnable. In 37-degree heat, as it's expected to be. Salford at home, winnable. Hull FC at home, winnable. Then they travel to OKR, who are on a bad run. And then they're at home to Warrington. I reckon Toulouse are looking at that going...
Yeah, there's 4 points there.
At least 4 points there. On the flip side, I know for a fact that Wakefield in their next 5 games, 3 of them are against Wigan, Saints and Catalan.
Oh, God.
So I'm looking at that.
I'm not saying no, but as in being dramatic, I'm genuinely saying...
Well, I'm looking at that going, if I'm Toulouse, I'm thinking we have to be above Wakefield in 5 rounds' time. Because if not, then they've probably missed a chance. With no disrespect to those clubs that Toulouse are playing, there ain't one of them where you go in, they can't win that. They can. So I'm worried for Wakefield.
To Wakey, this is an interesting one. I said, we'll go on to it in a minute. Hull, yesterday, had 3 new players playing. Have all made a massive impression.
Yeah.
Okay, all 3 made a massive. Walker, man at match, Ellis and Sims. Wakey have got cap space, you know it, I know it. Do they pull the trigger now and bring in, if they can, 3 players? Because I'll tell you now, the fans and everything will challenge Wakey now and say, if you don't make a move now, and it's deadline day this week, if you don't make a move now, you're telling us that you're happy what we've got to keep us in that league.
I'm going to challenge you though,
yeah.
And all 3 of you know this from your background. This is the time of the year when bad business can get done. Real bad business can get done because clubs panic. I don't think Wakefield, the problem is if they recruit this week, it's short term. And I get that people go, yeah, but long term it won't be good business because it very rarely is. You very rarely do a good deal at this time of year.
I get you, but they're 3 loan deals.
Yeah, I know, which is fine. And you mentioned it again, it comes back to motivation. The 3 lads who've gone to Hull FC, Jack Walker, something to play for. You know, he wants to, A, prove to his parent club Leeds that he should be there. B, if that's not going to work, Hull FC to take a permanent deal. He's got motivation. Ellis Longstaff, the talk is that he might leave Warrington.
Yeah.
So again, something to play for. This could be an opportunity for him to play a big club. And then you've got Josh Sim, who already knows he's leaving St Helens, so he's got something to play for. You've got 3 players there who are all hungry to prove themselves in the rest of the season.
So why don't Wakey just take the same format?
No, but this, I think this is what I'm trying to say. I think a lot of people, if you were to critique Wakefield's recruitment over a long period of time, is they've probably recruited to stay up. They sign players that are very late 20s, early to mid 30s, been there, done it, seasoned, with the whole philosophy as they'll keep us up. Okay, I recruited that for a long time and then changed it, and look where they've got. And I know they're not going great at the minute, but they've gone up. If Wakefield do that and try and sign that again, does that not only kick the can down the road and then they're in exactly the same position later on?
You're talking about loans, aren't you? You're talking about doing what?
But who's
if it
going
were
to do?
me, if you said to me now, you're Michael, I'd get Franny in and I'd get Willie in and I'd say to them, guys, are you happy with what you've got? Because if you are happy, I'm not bringing nobody in. If you think that we are in, we've got to get a booster in here, I would go and find another Jack Walker, and go to the clubs and say, look, who can we loan out to take off your cap?
But your problem you've got is KR injury crisis, FC injury crisis. Don't bother with Toulouse; they're not going to keep them anyone.
No.
Warrington have moved quite a lot of people out.
There's Huddersfield, isn't there? There's Huddersfield probably who've got a load of players who everyone can go and...
I think the point I'm making is who's out there right now, because a lot of those players who were available moved on last week.
Well, that's it. Hull have beaten Wakey for probably arguably 3 of the best who are available.
And this is my point. So then you might be able to get someone on a permanent because they know they're leaving at the end of the season. The club's gone, you know what? Yeah. But then is that the deal that you want? This is I go back. One of the prime examples for me is that Rob Louis to Ilolahia deal from a couple of years back. So Leeds paid 65 grand, I think it was, transfer fee, and paid Louis' wages. They had to hike him up quite considerably because they were desperate, and they paid to Ilolahia's wages. Financially, that was a woeful deal. Now, Louis wasn't a bad signing. I don't think he was amazing, but he wasn't a bad signing. But financially, we talk about moneyball all the time. That wasn't a good piece of business.
Crazy.
Wakefield aren't in a position financially to do that anyway. They can't be held to ransom because they can't afford to be. Not like a Leeds club.
I found what the half-back injured?
Lino
pulled out last minute, didn't he?
He pulled out last minute. After the game, Willie Poachin said food poisoning and a bit of a calf strain. He said he'd recovered from the food poisoning by the morning of the game, but it was too late.
He's massive for a minute.
But I got the impression, and I might be wrong here, but something, don't know.
A miss.
Yeah, something didn't feel quite right.
He when I went to watch him 4 weeks ago against Warrington, he was fantastic. I didn't realise how good his kicking game was. I actually said afterwards, wow, he's probably the best technical kicker I've seen in a lot of years, and I didn't realise, rude of me by the way, because I always thought he was, without him getting him round pitch, you're then looking at Jacob and Brad, is it?
They played Brad Walker in the
Brad Walker.
Start with, yeah.
Well, neither are natural kickers.
No.
Liam doesn't kick from hooker. Mm-hmm. No, occasionally. So you've got no probably field position. Mm-hmm. That'd be my first thing. I'd say, the Lino's got to play, and you've got to have some type of direction. Mm-hmm. I didn't think the 6. If you look at me now and said to me, who's 6, 7, 9, and 1 of Toulouse's at the moment, I'd probably think Toulouse have got a better fluidity in them for that's worrying.
All the Ashall bots playing really well.
Exciting.
Corey Norman were great.
Unbelievable.
Gigo, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's rocks and diamonds, and it's one of them. Some weeks he's more diamonds, some weeks he's more rocks. It's just the way he is. But you're right.
That's worrying for me.
Pete's a good player.
Yeah. And I generally feel if Willie and they have that meeting, which I'm sure they have. I'm sure that's what everybody who's got any brain would say on a Monday morning. What you don't want to do is walk about not taking it on. Mm-hmm. People think in sports science, best thing to do is ignore it because you're putting pressure on the players. I think I know players, I disagree. I heard one this year on a big game. I'm not going to mention it, what I heard, but I've heard that this big game will come in, and then they said, it's just another game. Hey, guys, just did. Bang, they're out. And I went to lads, they just said there was no atmosphere all week. We didn't get mentioned about this big game and how much it meant. Well, if I were Willie, I'd be putting it on them now, saying, guys, I'm telling you now, you've got to get serious what's happening here, because you know what it is when they get relegated, Matt. There'll only be 3 or 4 they'll keep. Yeah. And they could go part-time. I tell you now, Wakefield would have a chance of going. I'm serious here. So this is enormous. And Gary Etherington said something to me at the weekend. He said, this fixture today, if there were just a franchise, there wouldn't be any excitement. This would be a really, he says, but actually everyone's buzzing to watch. So promotion and relegation, as sad as it is for some people and families, and it does add a bit of absolute. We're all. Where are you watching now? I'm watching bottom.
Yeah, 100%.
What are you watching?
Top.
Clown.
Yeah, same in every division. In every division, it's like say it's guilt. You feel guilty, but it's exciting.
I was just going to say that the thing what you were saying, Craig, there they could go part-time. It's not even like that's a dramatic suggestion. You look at the clubs that have gone down over the years, right? So you go Bradford, when administration, relegation, went out of League One, come back up, somewhat stabilised off the field, but on the field, not doing what they need to do. You've got Widnes who effectively are part-time. London could go down this year. Yeah. You can go back to Halifax, have now not a part-time, haven't been in Super League for 20 years.
Great point.
It's not, so this idea, if they go down, the only club that's managed to come back up is OKR.
Well, Lee probably, hasn't it?
And Lee...
Because Derek pumps the money in.
Derek pumps the money in, but even, they've been on, and, fair enough. But if you don't have the benefactor, and the proof's in the pudding, you go down.
Yeah.
Well, that... Do you tell the players that? Do they know? Because what lads are like, rugby lads. Some of them don't see it.
They won't think about
that. And then all of a sudden, their lives are changing. And I'm thinking, is that pressure when you're playing? But should they not be under pressure?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Too right.
Should you play professional sport? Should you not be allowed to have a bit of? That is what makes the player.
We're all under pressure in his jobs.
Yeah.
Normal walk in life, you're all under pressure.
Apart from Joe,
I was going to say you, but
But if you look at that game, the standout thing for me is Wakey get off to a flyer. The old cliche, maybe too good a start, and I think, oh, thank God, we've done it. We need this 2 points, and we've done it. But Toulouse don't give up, and they come out fighting. So if you think about the psychology of where them 2 teams are, when Toulouse are looking dead and buried, they come out fighting because they're confident and they know, like things you touched on, the actual part of the game. And then when Wakey get it tough, it's gone.
Yeah.
So you look at where the mindsets are, that tells a lot of story of where the camps are and how confident they are in what they can do.
It's a great point, Jimmy, because Silvan said that in his post-match. He said they got in at half-time, and he said actually being down like they were helped him. He said it wasn't irretrievable. You
could see it.
But almost the pressure of the worst happening had already happened. Yeah. So it was like, we can go and play no pressure now and just enjoy it. Yeah. And
the extra man was the perfect timing for him. Straight after our time, we had another 7 minutes, and
he scored 18 points, 10 minutes.
Here's one for the fans. I think what Wake you've got in the favour, it's a real close-knit ground. Mm-hmm. If you go to Shaky and the fans are fighting, they're behind it, it's electric. It's one of my favourite grounds. I complain, have a laugh, saying, if you go to toilet, all that. But if you actually get there, and they're really up for it. So I'd be saying to fans and to Michael and to the club, if you're up for the fight now, the fans have got to get right behind you. And I know they do. They do. We've seen some of the best scenes. I remember when John Keir kept
waving
the famous
crowd,
wave and all that. Historically, the fans have come and backed him up, and I hope they do, because let me tell you, they're going to need every one of them fans.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're going to need everyone, because it's not the right time to blood youngsters. They've already got. I've certainly got Corey and Lewis Murphy. You'd probably say Corey and them are not veterans for young lads, but they've actually played 20 games, 25 games, so but it's probably not the right time to produce a young kid from academy. Mm-hmm. Saints can do it, because Wigan can do it, because no one notices that.
But you're winning as well, aren't you? There's less pressure. If as a young kid you come into a winning team.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's not the right time.
That's the perfect time.
So your problem is you sat there now, and I'm thinking, It'd be interesting. I'd like to think that something comes out in the next 48 hours that they've gone for it.
I mean, they've signed they have signed Josh Bowden from
right,
and they've signed Josh.
They didn't play,
and then he played in the reserves. So they signed him and he played in the reserves, which seemed, whether it's just a bit of match fitness because he hadn't played at FC. And they've signed George Tafau from Manly Sea Eagles. He was due to arrive yesterday. So he took Bill Tupu's.
Because Gailey said this is. Well, we can go on to the old derby next if we follow this in, but. Gailey rang me on the Monday and he said there's just a smut about this place. Everyone, it were like start of pre-season because the lads had seen the new faces. Mm-hmm. He said there were a buzz about the old camp all week, and I'd heard it from Jack. I'd heard it from others. They were like, "Wow, he is massive. If you get the right 2 or 3 to bring energy into any group, this show wasn't as good until Joe." Anyway, I thought you were going to say me, and I thought Mick could be. But it's massive. So I think all them things together, a few new players you've mentioned, the fans getting up for it.
Someone's just broken.
It's an house alarm.
That's mine. You sure?
Definitely won't be mine. I've got a lime green Mazda. No one wants that.
We're all running. We've just seen Jimmy's car getting pitched in drive. So it's on.
But how good is it? We talk about how important Gailey is off the field. That situation with Hull FC, when those young lads goes and he knows Wacker anyway, but that's where Gailey's worth his weight in gold because straight away those lads are involved and will be made to feel welcome and loved. It re-energises the team. I bet it was great fun, and it'd be all cliche again, when you're enjoying it and you're enjoying training, it's out on the field.
I suppose the other side, isn't there? If you're sat there, you haven't got a contract and they're telling you they're bringing 3, you'll be sick as a black ball donkey.
I think it was well managed at Hull, wasn't it? I don't think there would have been many sat there panicking or anything.
Probably Josh Bowden who got moved on. So that
I don't think Jamie Shaw would have been.
Yeah, no, Jamie Shaw would be the one.
The reason I say that is I imagine the writings on the wall for him. I think he probably understands his situation anyway.
Well, the thing is, I think Jamie's a great player, but Jamie hasn't been playing well. And at some point you've got to go. You know what?
Be interesting in 2 weeks. I was thinking, I'd say I'll build into the old derby, but Jake Connor's back, and I think Jake had cracked a joke. I think they've done a bit of kick chase. And Jack's and Jake's watching him going, and I don't think I do that, like wow, he's got to the ball. Then I've looked round and he's defending. So Jake, it wouldn't surprise me if they started to look at Jake at 6, and he'll have that experience with Gailey. And I think they're gonna do that. I think Jack will play set into such form. And let me say this: we did a podcast on a one-on-one with Jack, and if anybody gets the chance to watch it on our what's the name of the station, guys?
Your station.
Show Me the Money Rugby League TV.
If you've seen what he's been through, I cannot believe. Yesterday he texted a personal message last night, and I thought he has just overcome with emotion there because. Honestly, if you watch it, mate, it's that I'm so close to him. I went on the show. I don't know if Sam said it. It were really, you felt it when you said he's been through hell and back, and then he's gone into training like it's Jack Walker from 2017.
Well, what were funny? I spoke to him after the game. I interviewed him, and it came across to me a little bit that he was a little bit emotional. He spoke quite openly about his leaving Leeds and about the injuries as well, and making sure that he's managing that as well. I could tell he were a little bit. He still had his med long, so he got man at match, and Hull had given him a little memento. I thought, but he spoke really well, and he could tell he's matured actually. As a person, the whole journey might have helped him because I haven't spoken to him for a few years, but he was quite quiet. Didn't have a lot to say. He was quite affluent. He was speaking stuff.
He's got baby on the way. Probably,
as well. He's probably one of the only. And I say this, people say, "Oh, he's your own player." Jack's probably one of only 10 players maybe in the country who could not train, who could be not playing regular and produce that. Mm-hmm. I actually would have no doubt he's capable of walking up on a one-off game. Don't suffer nerves. Don't think about anything too much. When we do the inside the deal afterwards, I'll tell you a little bit about how it come about. But it's his attitude to life is let's do it. No, nothing going on at all. And isn't it great to see we've got 2 players on that pitch? I think if you watched the game yesterday, and I'm still very very mad about my. I had to go out for a meal, so I taped it, and I'm devastated because it didn't.
No.
Don't, because Mikey Lewis.
Mikey
gives me it and tells me if I miss his matches, there's a lot.
You said to me that you went out for tea and recorded it, but there's a little white lie in there because you didn't record it at all.
I watched the highlights.
You didn't record it, did you, Craig?
I did record it, but I didn't record. But I was sat there in this posh Michelin star, in this carvery, and I'm watching it. I've got my earphones on, and then I got absolutely blasted off the company saying you cannot capable of sit watching. I'm like, yeah, I am definitely capable of doing it. But then it went Pete Tong. I thought I'd got the cover note on. We ended up watching, Love Island. He said, no, we had a bad thing. But if you think about it, 2 exciting things. What the highlights and what I saw. What do you all think about when you say Mikey Lewis and Jack Walker?
Exciting.
What do you all think?
No, it's unpredictable.
It is just, if we want to sell this, let's start there. You've got Mikey, as you rightly said, into the old fans, Conor McGregor. Guys, do you want some more of this? Because I'm going to give you. That is what he's saying. He's saying, and I told you this morning. There's a podcast what we've done maybe 2 years ago, and I said, if there's one player made for the old derby, it's him. And on top of that, the old derby needs him. Mm-hmm. Let's hope he plays in a lot more, because if we want somebody from Hull to match him. And
Jake Connor's the man who.
Yeah, you've got it.
But
he is just 2 players got things in common. Competitive. Don't worry about too much around the rugby. Both love playing rugby. Do you see it?
Yeah. And they got that swagger.
Yeah, but they love to play, don't they? They love it. You look at them and you think, God, they love to play rugby.
What I love about the pair of them is just the swagger they've got about them. They both don't mind winding people up. I spoke to Gailey after the game, because he had a bit of a, I don't know if you've seen it. He got penalised in our creasing at the time. Because Mikey just wound him up and he away and got the penalty.
And do you know what? Mikey's that. I didn't tell Gailey this because Mikey, we're having a bit of fun, but I know Mikey, we're going to go for Gailey.
Yeah.
I felt it because he put something a month ago, and it was like a bit of a joke between us, who's the king of Hull? And Mikey was saying, I'm the new king of Hull, so tell Gailey that. And he just... It's just mouth-watering, isn't it? Yeah. I had 2 coaches text me last night, and again, it's on a bit of fun. They love him. 2 top coaches texting you and saying, mate, he is absolutely box office. He's what the game needs. He's Rob Burrow with swagger. Because Rob were the... I mean, memories about Rob, I can get emotional talk about it, but you look at Mikey and you see that little bit of thing is, whereas Rob didn't... No one ever called Rob. He was tough, Rob. Rob was tough. He didn't. Mikey verbals you. Mikey is telling you he's going to make you look the worst player on the pitch, and he's then asking about how your wife is. Do you know what I mean? It's that type of swagger. You've got a real deal here, and I tell you what. Again, I hope we wrap him up, and I'm going to throw one in. I put him in my squad as my outside choice. Yeah, you didn't.
It's not record. So.
I hope Sean Wayne's watching that. And he goes, listen, we need somebody. If we're drawing against Tonga, it's semi-final. I think Alt Stadium stands up if they get him ready. I can just see it. Get Mikey warmed up, and everyone goes,
he's a Grealish of English Rugby League at the minute, isn't he? He's got that about him where I would think back to World Cup Euros and everything like that. When Grealish came on against Germany, everyone would cry for him, and they show him on screen, and there's a roar in the pub.
Exactly.
But it's the same in football and rugby now. There's so few players who can change a game and who can win you a game. And a game's never lost if you're playing against Mikey, as he showed against Warrington in the playoffs last year. Yeah. He comes up with something that probably no one else would try. Nobody. And Jake Connor will try some things, but he can't do some of the things Mikey can do.
No.
And that's why, again, against the Aussies, where you need something different, he's the one who they'd be scared, because you don't know what he's going to do, because he don't know till a second before he does it.
Do you know there was a piece of him when me laugh when he first did the stroke, what he does, it's a bit of Connor, but it's a bit more. He did it at Leeds, didn't he? Remember we were there. He scored that try. I think Leeds were beaten by 13, but
Yeah,
he didn't give a monkey's. It was his moment and his win. And I watched it yesterday, and if you watch him at half time, that smile and that swagger, and I'm thinking, all right, Mike, you're not 20 up here. So he just got it, hadn't he? I mean, I bet you if you went to Hull fans, you told me an unbelievable comment to what somebody did on your Twitter page.
Yeah.
I'll let you share it.
So he'd obviously done the whole, chest out and everything. And I put a tweet out, something on the lines, I just love watching him play because he's this and that. And someone replied going, oh, I shouldn't be doing that to Hull fans, they're unprofessional. And a Hull FC fan replied going, if you have any passion, you absolutely understand that that's fine to do that. I've no problem with it at all. And this was from an FC fan. I thought, fair play to you. Fair play to you.
Big shout out there for
I
that.
agree with that. Yeah. I agree. On to the game itself. I can't help but feel a little bit for KR. 4 tries disallowed.
Well, and the one won it, the big one.
That Minchella, I tell you,
I've watched it 10 times. It's a try, innit?
I can't believe
it's a try. I've had Danny on this morning. So I think he stayed over. I think they were walking. He said to me a bit about the game. I said, I were in pub. No, I said the try. I thought it was a try.
I thought it was.
I said, I've watched it 10
especially going up as a try as well.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, Carmen might think, because I didn't know. I'm still 50-50 on the on the Parcel try. I'm not sure whether that. I'm still not 100% convinced that
I thought it was a try.
I thought it was right.
I thought that were close on replay.
They were definitely unlucky, weren't they? Because how many kicks has he missed?
A lot.
Or I think he made one, didn't he?
Oh well, I don't want to put anything on Coates, but that if you've missed
Gailey made all of it.
1 kick out of 5 and you get beat by that point, that's your first thing you start.
Always in big games.
It's big games like that, and do you know what? I actually laugh because Rowan can kick. If you remember at Bradford, he was quite a high percentage kicker, and I was like, when I heard him miss them, and then when I watched it, I'm like, well, that. And I want to challenge Rowan on this because you said to me, and we'll talk honest like we do. Everyone's wanting more off Rowan. We'll start there, Rowan. Start there by saying to Coates, because Mikey Lewis on his debut for for Newcastle, went up to the regular kicker who missed 1 kick and said, "Gets Coates, and that's the last thing you're having." Now, if you think about that, Rowan, we want Rowan to do that. Rowan's not that type of lad. But I think to get them performance out of Rowan, which he's going to need to stay in that team and take somewhere, he's going to have to find a swagger.
Yeah.
And he's going to have to find a passion. And that starts there. Hey, Coates, you've had 3. I'm winning Derby. Give us a cone.
Yeah.
Do it. Because that's what the best players do. That's what the best players do.
I often think as well, if you've missed a few, and it wasn't even like they're all, some of them were fairly regulatory conversions. I almost think you want someone to take them off you. You focus on your game. Now I get it. Look, I don't think you'll mind me saying this. Rowan's not playing as well as he can do at the minute.
No.
He's
we talk on it.
Struggling a little bit defensively. I think I said to you, I just like to see him take the game by the scruff of the neck a bit more. It's a bit like what you're saying about conversions. Is that something that maybe thinks I need to just focus on my own performance, not take goal kicking on?
But you need to take
confidence.
He's an halfback. He's a responsibility. You've got to listen. I never played rugby league. We played football. God and Benny, if they'd even half a chance of me taking penalty, whether I scored or not, my hand were up every time. In fact, I think they probably took it off me at one time because I'd started doing I started doing the Dwight York one, stepped on a chip him and all that, and they were like, "You're a clown." But I never ever hesitated in when we played tennis. Up until your thing is you live for that moment, don't you? Yeah. You live for that one moment.
Certain characters do, and if it don't come natural, it's very hard to force.
Well, we're going to have to push him.
Mike's got that in abundance, and it helps him be the player he is. And players that don't have that, it's a lot harder for him, or it comes in later years.
It does, but if you're playing halfback, and I watched him have the man of the match in the Hull Derby 2 years ago. Was it 2 years ago when he just completely dominated the game? At Hull, he had it on a string. Possibly. He scored a chip over it. I was there. I think it was 2 years ago. He was that day, there was swagger that day. He was free, he was playing short, playing long. He's got them lovely wrist pass, he was just dropping balls. He's a completion man, he's Rowan. He's a high box kick, execution of a play, unbelievable. Like you said, defensively, you've got, do you know, to defend, you would not all agree with this, in any sport, this is any sport. Let's take yours, Jimmy Sport, bowls, no, tennis. If you're playing tennis, and this is true, you'll do it with table tennis, I'm sure. Joe will tell you with tennis. If you want to dig into a game, you've got to get into a rally and probably just get the ball back. It might not be going right for you, but mentally, only an idiot carries on doing the things you're doing because it's arrogance. But what the real boys do is they go, I've got to start making these rallies longer. I've got to get into it and I've got to battle and I've got to... I saw the final yesterday. He's typically not wanting to get into that battle. That lad who didn't find from Australia. He didn't want to get involved in any six-shot rally. He's out there. That's why Jock, other lad... Oh my God! I watched him at O2 2 years ago. He'll do 40 shots, and just look at you and go, "I'm going to do that to you for 4 hours." To defend, to be a good defender, you've got to want to do it, haven't you?
Yeah.
You've got to want to get involved in. Come on, run at me. Come on, come on. Let me get up. I'm going to make a tackle. I'm going to get back online.
It's about penalties, got no bunch.
Yeah, you need some. It's something in it, and you see that energy.
Bit of competitiveness as well. I think sometimes, isn't it?
Great word. Great word.
And I think you hear a lot of coaches say, at every level, young halfbacks, they can have all the skill and they can have the game, but becoming the man and being that loud voice when you might be lined up with lads who played 200 games more than you, they find it hard, and that's a big barrier for him. And that's why Mike is so fortunate, because he's got that and very few do.
Yeah.
That's
what, and it's not untypical for the younger half.
He's more insecure, Mikey, off the pitch than he's, like sometimes.
Well, sometimes they flip it, don't they?
Yeah, after a game he'll...
Look at Gaza, he was the ultimate, off the pitch, cross the white line, forget it all, and backs himself. And sometimes it can work, that's for psychology, isn't it? It can work the other way. But
if you look at...
I don't think you can just say to someone, although I know it's in and it's correct, you need to do this, you need to do that, because if it doesn't come natural, it's hard.
I get you, but I think it's... Matt said, I don't know how Abdul's got, it's his best opportunity, Rowan's, to play regular without having pressure on you of, let's say Danny's next option might be to put Coots at halves. Yeah. Coots is struggling with energy and injuries. They might go get Coots at half for that left peg, box kick. Rowan's got to be on his mettle here because what you don't want as a player, you don't want Jordan coming back then and then there's more competition, there's more. They might say, you're looking at, and I'm looking at it and thinking, this is a hell of a chance for him here. You know what I mean? To secure his place for the next 15 years. He's moved over to Ulkaya. He's moved over to Hull. Him and Stozza have both moved over. So everything's in here. Any talent like that. Truey's very similar, by the way. You've got Truey, who's a very similar lad. And it's weird how they play for the same club, the same academy, but I see it in Truey. If I said to you, Truey, what would you say?
Oh, I've seen him on nights out. It's probably different. I just think he's got confidence again. He's a confident player. That's what I watch when I watch him out.
But some people could say he's not competitive at times, but actually,
no, I don't.
Because you don't know him.
I don't think that at all.
Right.
I just think he's got quite a laid back demeanour in the way he's got that. Not as exaggerated, but like Berbatov. Yeah. A little bit slump of the short, but
I think Rowan's that. If you spoke to coach at Bradford, they call Rowan it's like the gene. They see things that they've seen, and the OKR fans have seen a sprinkling of it. And I'm probably one of his biggest fans. But I just think you've got to take your chance because this is it.
But it links in with what we said earlier. They become that player, and when he had that game against the derby, when they're confident, when you get those stringy games and your confidence grows, you can become the man. But a team that's not doing well, it's not set up perfectly for that.
I thought Matt Parcell were very good.
Was very good.
And selfishly, I just want Jez on for as long as I can. And Jez only got short, and it's got to be an injury to Frankie.
Yeah,
I think Danny said
that was a blow as well.
That's a massive blow.
He's been talk about moneyball signings. He's up there this year. Him, Coriol,
and I never meant that, so devastated.
Him, Coriol, Dion Cross, probably the three, aren't they?
Yeah. George King's pivotal. They need GK. I bet Danny's massaging him now thinking, we have got to get the GK back in.
Look at it this way for KR, right? And you could do this to nearly every club. George King being best forward. You've Abdul, who's played for England in halves in the last 12 months. You've Kane Lynette, who were in Dream Team last year.
Massive.
You've Ryan Hall, who's England winger, right?
Massive.
So you're taking out 4 of, let's say, your best 6 players.
Tapper's not showing up.
Who's that?
Takarangi.
Takarangi. But, those 4, you would say, over the last 2 years have been 4 of their top 6 players. Yeah. If you took 4 of the top 6 players at any team, they won't do as well as they should do.
Great point. Yeah. Even Saints, if he took Lomax, Rugby,
100%. Walmsley.
And Morgan Knowles, that type of player, you'd be...
They can usually handle one, but four, like you say, it's
Can't
huge,
do it.
huge.
You know what? I wish... The good thing for rugby is, if you think of a bigger picture in all KR, people say, can a town have two clubs? That is one town it can, innit?
Yeah.
They are two of the clubs we want to keep in this league.
Yeah.
Because selling that derby is just everything. I wish they'd play it 3-4 times. You know what I mean? I do think for the game, that passion what you show. I said on the show the other week, Matt, I only did my first derby 2 years ago. It's the best stage rugby. Apart from, I'd say close would be Leeds Melbourne at Headingley when they took the roof off, when Ryan went clear. I felt the roof coming off, and the couple of grand finals when you're like, but actual for the crack and the atmosphere and the fans were seeing. We saw a great exchange in the fans. It's hilarious what we're watching it from watching from the box, and
forgot about
this Wigan and Saints, and they're at it. The fans are absolutely... It's different to the old ones, because I think all they probably are neighbours. These are probably 100 mile apart, whatever, you'll know exactly, but they're so much apart. But they're giving it to some, and the Saints go matching in. And every time Saints score, they're spraying these Wigan supporters. And in the middle, there's these 10 guys dressed in red costumes.
F1, Formula 1 outfits.
Formula 1. Now, what we were trying to work out from the box was, so Saints score, when the Saints, beer's going off. The Formula 1 lads are going, Wigan. Wigan score. Wigan go, and they go, Saints, we're... So we're sat there going, who are they supporting here? I think they did double bluff.
They did something.
I think they were just having a good time out, and they just thought, you know what, we'll just cheer both.
That's what I love about the old derby, the absolute pettiness of it. Like how far they'll resort to have a little dig. I love it.
They go dig.
Social, we talk about rat, and there's always a few mindless idiots who can ruin it. But I think that old derby in particular, it's everything you want from a sporting rivalry.
It's the right comedy level.
Yeah, there is that comedic value.
It's a bit like
to
in
it.
football. Wigan and Saints are a bit like United and Liverpool. It's a bit more of a hatred, whereas Everton and Liverpool is like the whole derby. Whereas it's your brother and sister.
Yeah.
And you get that with the whole lot more, don't you?
Yeah, I think it's brilliant.
We need it, and I think it was.
What a game it was!
What a game, and then you've got Gailey back to form. I think some people said this morning that's his best. Well, you said it, didn't you?
Best game by a mile.
I think they've got. Oh, can all make a run for it?
No,
the gaps.
No,
I don't think the
top six.
We're saying top six. Yeah. The fifth.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Top six.
Can all put together or into the Saints and the Wigan? That gap's massive.
They can finish top six.
Could a full Hull side compete with top two?
In a one-off game?
Yeah, one-off game.
Oh, I think so. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
But not over a season, because never do.
No, but if Hull hit the playoffs,
make it to the playoffs,
and all of a sudden Jake's flowing, Gailey's flowing, Walker's flowing. They've got this back. They've got trying to think of the injuries they've had.
They've had a few, haven't they? Carlos is a big miss.
They are one of the only teams. I'm going to tell you now, and I'll be quoted on this. They're probably one of the only teams that could put something together
to take on Wigan and Saints.
Yes.
Are we agreeing Wigan and Saints are ahead of everybody?
Yes.
Yeah.
I've not seen enough yet this season.
We can move on to them now, maybe, but I think Huddersfield are in that bracket. I think Wigan and Saints. I think maybe not even half a level, maybe a quarter of a level.
But
I think
they're so different, aren't they? But you can't follow what they do all the time. Just so relentless and organised.
I was judging that off yesterday because, like you said, both teams brilliant game, some individual masterful performances, but both teams are gone with injury, like decimated with injuries and time. What's it called when they get time off games? Sorry, what's the word?
Suspension?
Suspended.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that going on in both teams where I think that was just a good game. But if you compare that to the Wigan Saints one, I don't think it were in the same.
That were unbelievable.
Bracket of quality.
The pace of that game is just ridiculous, isn't it? That's the difference. It's like driving a car in a faster lane.
So I went with a load of mates this weekend to Magic. 5 of them aren't really rugby fans. So they watched the first game, Toulouse Wakefield. And they watched it and they're like, this is next level. Like they didn't have like, oh yeah, this is top 2. This is they were like
unbelievable.
Speed just incredible compared to other ones.
It is. It's like I remind me of Carr, 3rd lane, 2nd lane, 1st lane.
I've not seen Hull play at that fast level yet this season. I've not seen.
But Hull don't play like that in fairness.
No,
but I think they have to though. Don't they have to get?
They would have to. I agree with you,
they'd have to go up a bit, I think. But the way that they play and they control the game and they do quite slow it down. They go through the. My thing for
Hull are like Carlands, what?
Yeah, they play more like
they roll you, and then if they get you and keep you in that field position. I just think they are one of the only teams that if they got everybody back, they could potentially put a run together.
I don't think they. I think they're a great team, great on the. I don't think they can.
How many injuries have we got? Well, we got out Carlos.
So right,
Jake.
you go through the teams. You got Jake, you've got Carlos, Adam Swift is out at the moment.
Wow, he's in the right season.
Obviously, Josh Reynolds is gone. Manu Mao's been injured.
Oh my God! So they've got,
but it's always the same, isn't it? It's always the same.
And this is the big point. You're going on if they have the strongest team out, and they're at full tilt. And I go, yeah, they probably could, but my argument is they won't because they never do have. They always have. This is the problem I have with FC that, for whatever reason, and we speak about this all the time, probably a bit of bad luck.
Savelio as well. So
Savelio's, and everyone completely forgot about Savelio. You know, there is a bit of bad luck involved.
It's about 800 grand off cap there.
Oh, yeah. Do you remember, I don't know how many years we're going back, but first game at Henley when Hull had a full team out.
I was there.
Yeah, we were at that game.
Adam Payton, that blazer on the line, didn't he?
This is it. That performance was like, oh, never mind, Saints, Visa got it.
They just butchered them through middle, didn't they?
That was one of the best performances I've ever seen.
It was first year 2020, wasn't it? Because it was COVID.
Yeah,
like a month later, Radford got sacked.
Yeah, because they just went like that. Yeah. But they got
injuries
almost immediately.
But this is what they do. This is the problem.
What do we think to Danny? What did we think to Danny's performance? First, is a honourable member of the Hall of Fame for showing me the money.
Oh, Danny McGuire,
our first player. Yeah. What about as a coach? Did we see signs he could be a super coach?
No, I think he will be. I think he will be.
I think that's a big call to make. Not on negative, he probably can be, but off that one game, I think
I'm not saying judge him on that one game. I'm saying, do we think Danny's potentially got the potential to be a good coach?
I've not. What you're judging him off like the reserves? The reserves have been up and down this year. I'm not dissing Danny. I think he can be.
Danny.
They've been up. Sorry, they've been up and down.
They just threw one in. Yeah, well, what makes you that? I don't really understand.
Danny McGuire, is he?
I think he's a legend of the thing, but I think he's definitely the thing he bought, which obviously you hope for a Hull derby, but obviously we haven't seen it all the time at KL this year. He were right, and he said it in all his interviews. They were passionate and they cared. You could see they cared, didn't they?
He brought in a couple of. I thought they were a genius move, and I'd like to think it was my idea, but it wasn't. He brought in a couple of
the young lads.
He brought a couple of fans in.
Oh, the fans.
Did he?
Yeah. And he said to him, I think to the lads, I hope you don't mind me saying this, but I think he wanted the players to feel what it meant to a supporter. I think that's genius move.
Genius, yeah.
I think he understood what pressure the derby, when he's played in a lot of Leeds Bradford games, he played in the old derby. As a player, he played, as he said, he said, I'll tell you what I said to him, and I hope you don't mind. I said to him this morning, how did you handle the pressure? And I said, I thought Sky and Gemma on the telly sometimes just ask you that one too many questions like you like.
She was chipping in the interview.
She gave him a couple of just feeling it out. And Tony Smith, that's a funny position for anybody. You're taking one of your pals, one of your mentors.
She's got to do that though.
Yeah, I get it. And well, this is what I'm going to answer you. Then, so I was like, oof. Danny said, I don't mind all that. He said, played under pressure all my life. I've had it since I've been 16, 17. He said, I love when they ask them questions, that's what they should ask. Mm-hmm. I don't mind anything being feisty. He got it. I think he got the derby. Mm-hmm. I think he's been unlucky for his first derby for a defeat. And I've never heard him ever. Danny would never, ever, ever bring you in the morning. Just not Danny. He's a one of the worst partnerships as a friend ever, Danny, because he's like a will-o'-the-wisp. He's like this. Bang, and his passion in the voice this morning, I was like, he wants this. He's absolutely loving every second, every minute of this journey. And I think he will go on to be. I always say it's John Bastian saw him do a session, a guy at Bradford won a competition, ginger-haired lad, young halfback, Harry Shackleton. Right. And Dad paid X amount for him to have a one-on-one. And I remember Bastian sat behind us when we were doing it, and he said, I've just watched him first time. He said he's going to be a top coach. He said he's got it. Whatever it people see to be that. And I think these games will make him unbelievably better for next year. But, and here's my but, once you've tasted steak, is it hard to go back to...
Of course it is. But... What
do you mean, sorry, going
I think it depends how well he does this season.
Do you mean going from being tentative a derby to then do...
No, I mean, he's going to be
assistant
head
coach, going back to assistant coach.
I think he's going to absolutely...
I think that depends on how he does, surely. I think if he wins and he gets them in the... let's say something magical happens. I know they're a bit away from the playoffs now, but let's say somehow he makes it to the playoffs, he's the king of the coach. That will be impossible for him now to step down as assistant. But if he does average, I think... Yeah, it could easily be like, yeah, you take over.
I think he's still very
steadied the ship,
open to learning, and he doesn't for 1 second think, even if he wins the rest of the season every game, I still think he knows he can always benefit from learning more. He's in no rush.
I agree with that.
He's not.
I agree, but it's just hard, isn't it? That is whether you think that way. I could think like that now, and if I got a big job and did really well, that's tough.
I'll give you an ethos of what I mean. I could remember being a kid, and one of my ambitions when I worked for my dad was to get on the forklift. There weren't many licenses in them days. It was every man for himself. But if you didn't get on the forklift, you were grafting handballing waste paper for 11 hours a day. So if you made the forklift, it was the thing. I knew the day I got that, I sat on that first day, I've got my cup of tea, I'm above all lads, I'm flying about on a dodgy, I'm working. I will never go back to that shop floor, son. And I didn't know how to do anything, but I tell you, once I got a taste of it, I was like, well, and everything in my life, once somebody's up, I believe you've got to take your opportunity. Once somebody gives you, listen, this is just lads talking.
I get it.
He's got a 3-year deal. He's a lovely lad. He'll be a great number 2. I know that, but as a debate, Matt, you're in your job. Martin Shuttleworth in the Martin Sadler in the day comes in and says, Matt, you're now chief journalist. You're going to be doing head stories. But it's only temporary because we've got somebody for the job next year. You do it. How do you feel going back to...
I'd have walked.
It's what?
I'd have walked.
No, do you know what I mean, though? I bet you once you got into that position, it's very hard, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, it's like that now. You know, day in, day out.
Coming back to do the podcast is a bit of a backward step.
Yeah, back on shows with Craig, it's like, what's happened there? It's gone wrong. No, but it's like anything. I think when you're a player, you want to be best in competition. You don't want to lose that status. So I get your point, but what I was going to say was, didn't Danny say to Hull KR he felt he needed more time? 100%. So there you go. Yeah.
And to go back to the original question,
but it's different being given the job now.
My thing on Danny is in the long run, why I think he'll be really good is because a big part of being a coach is having the players respect, and automatically any player who's ever seen him play one game knows what he was about and how good he was. So I think he has that respect. Coaches can lose players' respect, but I don't think he will because he'll work so hard. And Danny was arguably one of the biggest, most competitive players of all time. And Danny wants to become a top coach and he wants a full career in coaching. And because of that, I think he'll excel. And I think he will just go like that because he wants it and he's so determined and such a competitor. He won't be a laid-back coach. He won't be taking it easy. He won't be putting his feet up. He'll be full intensity to get players to try and to be like he was. The big question for me is, does Danny at some point in his career experience the Roy Keane syndrome, where Roy Keane was one of the biggest competitors in football and was a big winner? Does Danny get to a point at some point down the line where there's a team where he doesn't want it as much as he does? That's why Roy Keane and Graham Souness couldn't coach, because they were dealing with players who were a different breed.
Yeah.
That's the only potential hurdle I see.
Well, isn't it the right way then, any reserves? Because that's most humbling.
Take his time. He's in no rush.
I help with a lot of the young reserve lads under 19s at Hull KR. I'll give him credit after evening it out earlier. Every single one of them say he's a brilliant coach and have the utmost respect. They speak about him, they look for him, they text him, they ask for his advice, that he is the man. They all think how amazing his opinion, and everything they say they take up, and they love him. They absolutely love him, the young lads at KR.
If Rowan and Mikey and Ruslan and the halfbacks there don't tap into that quick anyway, there must be. I know I've been following him around everywhere.
But even props.
Oh no, I get it.
Every level.
I get it, every position. But I'm saying if you've got the halfback goat in Super League history,
it's obvious, isn't it? Of course,
you'd be thinking, saying, right, what can I try and get as much as I can? Because a thirst for knowledge is the only way you can improve. Competitive, you've used earlier on. That's a great one we're using out when we're IDing. But a thirst for knowledge, I find that right up there in top 5 things. Because if you're not willing to learn, and you ain't got a thirst to learn, you're either arrogant as a person, or you're thick.
Yeah,
that's 2 good points. If you don't think you need to, we're into horse racing. All I do every day is ask the most stupid questions, and my mate's like, "Oh, why do you keep asking them stupid questions?" Because one day they won't be stupid questions.
100%.
Are you? I says, "What do you know about? Let's me and you." And he's like, and I'm like, "No. What do you know?" And he knows nothing because he's not willing to put the hard work in to ask them questions and be inquisitive.
Yeah.
So I think, again, that's one thing that I think the thirst for that is amazing. Next year you've got 2 halfbacks. Willie Peters were an halfback. So you've got 2 halfbacks there. So the backs should be getting some decent ball and some.
Wacker spoke about Broadson. Piece I did with him. He said within 24 hours being there, Brett was giving him all this information about being there. Brilliant.
Wow. That's everything. Yeah. Can we go on to the re-emergence of, I'll let you cue us in, Leeds?
Yes, we haven't spoken about Leeds yet, have we? I was looking at some stats this morning about Rowan Smith's time. So it's only 7 games. But they've averaged 28 points a game under Rowan Smith, right?
Nearly double.
Yeah. Wigan are the highest scoring team in Super League this year. They've averaged, over the course of the season, 27.66 points a game. So during Rowan Smith's time, Leeds are the highest scoring team in Super League on average.
And that's double
a great stat.
What they were on before Rowan, isn't it? They were on about 14.
Mick, I know you're missing, but you need to give us more of that. That's what we want. Sorry.
But it's true. That for me was the big take. And don't forget, they only scored 8 in his first game against Salford. They played Saints and got 12, so the other games scored some real points.
Fantastic point.
And for me, they were the worst attacking team in the league when he joined. They were the lowest team.
They were lowest,
wow.
Yeah.
So that's been the big turnaround at Leeds.
Do you know what he talked a lot, Matt? When we think is he talks about running the ball. He kept saying it to me when I first met him, which was about the 2nd week with a player, and he said all he talked about was running the ball. I want runners. And he said I've noticed in this country halfbacks don't run the ball. I was like, explain. He said, well, when you get it, he said I want mine to be going at the line all the time and looking for gaps, because if you watch the NRL now, a lot of it's on edges. They'll do it in tight spaces. Yeah. They'll just keep the ball going, which is not the NRL copyrights. Were always 5 drives, completion, 90, boring. Now it's different world. Yeah. So he's looked at that obviously and thought, I'm going to bring that. And he said, I just want people who run the ball now. They did that a weekend without Cruz,
which were impressive, because I thought
he's
really
been massive,
hasn't
he? Whether you're a Cruz fan to be whatever, Cruz Lehman's running game at Leeds has been unbelievable. So it's even more impressive. Our lad, young Corey, played half. Who's probably never played half.
His numbers were phenomenal. I didn't know how much Corey. Obviously, watching it from up there, we were like little hawks. You saw it. It was like a bird's eye view, so you couldn't get it. The feel, but then they showed the stats on the Sunday night of all the top people who covered the most yard distance. Sorry, that's the correct word. Yeah, Corey Johnson, the top speed, the top 10, Corey Johnson, and then what was the third one? Top intensity, Corey Johnson. All 3 in the top 10. I was like, wow.
Come on, Corey. Can I challenge something there? Do you know when you keep seeing the stat that keeps saying?
Top speed.
No, the other one.
No, meters a second.
Oh, no,
intensity.
No, forget about it. So, Joe's his first one, what he said about the most meters
covered, yeah.
I'm not so sure that's
relevant.
Yeah, because
any stat you've got to.
I'd be careful with that one, wouldn't you? Because you think about it.
Headless chicken.
Do you know what I'm saying? And you look at that. I know they once won the on Messi, didn't they? They said he did the least amount.
You've got to be careful.
But the bits he did are just off the scale. But I see a lot of players who probably could go around there. You think, wow, he looks busy, but then you go, By the way, this named it Corey because
it sounded like you're.
Corey thought you were great. I'm just saying I'd be careful about that one. I don't like that one.
The one I always want to know is because they have the GPS on, don't they? That's how they track it. What when they're on, like forwards to stay warm or to warm up? They want what bike, don't they?
Yeah.
How do they not measure that on the meters covered? Because they must take something. I know
they probably should fit it into you as they're going. Yeah. But I mean, I know now they're taking them home with them. They're giving them stuff at home. They're letting them see what they're thinking. But I mean,
that's for recovery.
Somebody wants to know where we're active. I just typed it, dog, wouldn't you?
No, it's not to be active at home. It's to base your heart rate on your recovery.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
I didn't know any of that.
So that's the big thing they're doing now. They're trying to get the diets balanced. They're trying to get the sleep pattern's massive now. So
I know there's a lot of talk about sleep.
Yeah, the sleep pattern, which is just what we do. If you've had 10 pints and a bottle of red, you sleep very well.
I'm opposite.
It's the opposite. It's the opposite. It's the worst quality. It's the worst quality sleep. That's why you've always got them big bags.
I reckon, Mick,
you know them big bags you have. That's because you're drinking them red wines.
Joe's getting aggressive as he's saying big bags.
Yeah, he's got them.
It's hereditary.
What?
He ain't got no eyes. He ain't got no eyes.
Oh.
He's upset that I've got him. It's upset that I've got him. It's all right, pal. I got you.
You're rattled here.
He is. I've rattled him.
Never been rattled in my life.
You've been rattled by lad.
Never.
I think those
stats are There's a pecking order.
You're at bottom today.
Yeah, well, back to the sleep pattern. I'm sure the great game caller at this moment is asleep somewhere in Newcastle. If anybody's seen him, we're still an hour into the show. Any comments, Sam? Have we got any tracking of?
It should be the greasy spoon around about.
No signs anywhere. I'm sure.
No updates.
We need a helpline number.
Have I just asked on a non-live show? Have we got any comments?
Yeah, that's true. Actually,
I told you. You ought to be rattled.
You're right. He's rattled me.
Tomorrow morning. They're still lost at morning.
That's what I can't believe I've just done that. Any comments? You're not live. Yeah, so big on Leeds. What about
what we're going to say on Leeds? The thing now is consistency, isn't it? Because we've seen him. You look at the 7 games under Rowan. Salford, rubbish. Played Wakey, were decent. Played Warrington, were unbelievable. Played Huddersfield, were garbage. Played Saints, were decent for the first half, then collapsed. Played Hull, were mind-blowingly good, and then played this week and were good again. But they've got to get rid of the rubbish.
Is that the signs of implementing a new system though?
There's always teething problems, isn't there? The new coach comes in, it's not going to click like that. Very rarely does it. I agree, but the defence still worries me. You know, even I know they've scored 34 and won the game. They still conceded 20 to a cast team that didn't have McShane and Truman. You know,
good point.
It's a head start for next season more than anything.
For sure. It's not the interesting thing with them, and we'll probably talk about this on Inside the Deal, is just the whole salary cap thing at Leeds. Because I genuinely don't think, and I understand because the club aren't going to come out and openly talk about it, but I don't think the fans realise just how much of a pressing issue this is at the minute for Leeds. Like their cap is they've no space.
No.
There's no space.
Well, and if when there's no space, Jack Walker has been, and you look at that Jack Walker, you look and you think he was supposed to stay at Leeds probably for 15 years. That would have been before the injuries. You would have said Jack would have won. There's no one that was a supporter of Leeds would not have said Jack Walker's a 15-year man, or he was NRL.
Said to me in this piece, I'm giving all my piece where he said, I always saw myself as becoming a Leeds legend.
Yeah.
That's what he said.
Yeah. So then you're looking and going cap space. If Jack could go without a doubt, we're telling the truth now. I think Leeds probably looking to tie Zach up a bit. Mm-hmm. They've got M.I.A for 2, which was a funny one. I thought
2 more.
I think he's got 2 more after this.
2 more. Austin got another.
So he's got the Austin situation, which is an extension, which is whatever. There's a lot of rumours around that one. It is. Now, the good thing for Leeds is, as historically, they can pull a Morgan Gannon, will walk through that door from the academy and you go, oh my God.
Is he one of yours?
No.
He is a freak.
He's an absolute...
Do
you know what? A bit slow on us, and I never met his dad, Jim Gannon, I never met the family. The lad spoke well of him for ages. And they were saying, but sometimes when you've got a few lads in the same position at a club, it is hard to be aggressive in going for somebody that you might be like, you know, you have to be careful sometimes, and I think but Leeds will that's where they can get out of any cap situation. John Bastin maybe just go, here we go, I've got one. You know, Max Simpson, it could be, you know, somebody just come bang and all of a sudden they've got a 15 grand player replacing problems on cap, and they can get 2 years and save their lives.
Yeah.
And I think historically, Matt, that's what will happen at Leeds again. I'm with you. I was here with Gary last week. He's got to do a lot of work. There's a lot of work on there. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, and I'm saying this respectful, I say it's so hard for Gary now because Gary's done that. The hungry Gary would have tied you in knots. Mm-hmm. Honestly, you used to leave Gary checking your pockets. It was just one of them. You knew you would not win that deal. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you. I classed Gary very early, and I say class, it's a friendship thing, I think. But you went at it, and Gary would just leave you. You'd just be like, I can't, and he'd think he's done me a favour. Mm. Then you get back on and pull a contract offer out, and you're devastated. You're thinking, how's he done that? But bloody hell, Craig, you know, you didn't realise. And then we clashed. As we got older, I learned a lot off Gary because we had to go and start log aheads, which is what these lads are going to have to do. You know, when you start having to, it's not all candy and, you know, and all roses. It's sometimes you don't talk for 3 weeks. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? I this smut will come out in the next couple of weeks. There's a deal will going to happen, and I'm very close friends with the guy who was deal, and it's not gone his way, and I know immediately that is strained. So you've got to have a period of probably 2 or 3 weeks where you know, from you having the loveliest friendship ever, there's a little bit. Do you know what I'm saying? I always say it's the player's choice. My job's just to guide. Our job is just to guide that deal, make sure we've got the best deal we believe. But it's so tough because it becomes personal. And it becomes personal in, you know what I mean? And they
will put life, doesn't it? You know,
put it on you like you will not believe. You know, I'm not happy about that. And next thing you know, they'll be having coffee with another agent. You're thinking, oh, that's how it can be fickle. So I think Gary's got a hell of a job. Now, whether Rich Hagar, I hear little things of what Rich is doing. I don't know what that was going to be Rich's role. People are saying it's not his role now. I would have somebody doing that role, and this is me talking honestly. I think it's a lot for Gary to do what he does. Gary does 50 do's a year, maybe 60. He will have a do one every 2 weeks when he's organised to put money in the foundation and put money in the club. He's just ex-players, he's massive. You know, Gary's role as an ambassador to the sport is not turning out to watch an academy, to watch a new kid or to do a negotiation at that. I don't think that is Gary anymore.
Don't forget as well, he openly distanced himself from that when he brought Kev in.
He did.
Now, you know, we all heard what Kev said when he left about maybe wanting the job I thought it was going to be. He himself said maybe that was because of COVID partially. Whether they were a bit more starting up, I don't know. But
you sensed they were.
You did, but you know, you don't know. You never know the ins and outs. But Gary wanted to move away from that, and he's almost had to be thrust back in it.
Exactly.
Because Kev left and there was no obvious replacement.
Exactly.
And then what's going on with Rich? I don't know. Is he there? Is he not? No one's quite 100% sure. So then, you know, he's got to do it. But I don't think he wants. Well, I don't speak to Gary Everin at all. Really, I've had a couple of conversations with him in my life. I don't know if he wants to do it anymore, so I can't say. But the fact that he tried to step away from it suggests to me that he don't think it's in the club's best interest for him to be having to take on such a big role with everything else he's doing.
100%. And we say it every week on the show. They should go director of football routes. I'm telling you.
It's finding the person though.
I know. I get you. I suppose people say ex-players. I said this the week. Because you're an ex-player, I wouldn't say that's what you need to be that role. I'd be the opposite of me. If it were me, I'd say that's the last thing you want.
Director of football, you need to stato on all. Who's willing to watch every single game.
Negotiations, but you've got to be massive on. Do you know how hard it is to be a negotiator? You can't buy this. No. You can't. I can put you 10 people in a room, and the person who's had the most experience at it will probably come out on top because he'll have 10 different techniques. You know, there's just ex-player. Oh yeah, I'm going to turn up. I'm going to do a deal. You never know what a deal is. You know, you can't. I hear people say I'm going to be an agent. I find it so disrespectful when somebody just puts it like that, and I go, "Wow, what skills have you got?"
That's the same in most jobs, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm going to do it different. I'm going to do it different. I'm going to do this, and I go, "No, you're not. You're not going to do it because this is the model.
Yeah.
You're going to do it the same. And then you're going to get fed up, as Gary Etherington said to me on Monday. He said, if you do that role, Craig, and he worded it, he said it's a lifestyle job. I said, what do you mean by that, Gary? It's like your job. He said, they don't understand. It has to go in with your lifestyle. You can't say, don't ring me after 5 o'clock. Are you kidding? you have to be like, Danny's very clever at saying, that's me done, and I'm thinking, good luck on that, Dan, now. Because you are going to be getting players ringing you at 10 o'clock. So Gary said it's a lifestyle job. Director of football, it's a lifestyle job. You've got to be so... You can't... I'm not kidding you. I'll tell you 2 things quickly. A player said to me last week, I can't answer. I'm out with family. I text. I'm with my family every time you speak to me. He didn't get it. He couldn't get it into his head what I was saying. And I was so... And then another one is somebody taking the phone off when they go holiday. And I go, wow. Wow. I run a business on my own. Joe will tell you growing up, I had a meal of manga watching tennis, and I did 9 hours in a pool with the phones.
We weren't that close when we were young. He was always on his phone, isn't it?
Yeah, that's why he went private school and college in America. $500,000. He
put the money. He put the money instead of the love.
Oh yeah. We did it. Here's one. Just have a laugh about that. I'm skiing a couple of years ago, and I'm drunk. We're having a good drink, and it comes out about watching things your kids do, and I flippantly said, "Yeah, I never missed a game." So what do you mean? I said, I never missed a football game, sports game. So I said it, and these people are saying, well, how did you run your own business? You went, oh, these employees, and this. And I said, yeah, I still did it. I just went when I never missed. So it got to 1 o'clock, and the money's gone down. It's impossible for you not to miss one of your son's rugby matches. I said, and I coach most of them. So what, you run a bit? Yeah. So we rang Joe. We rang Joe from like Switzerland. He's in America. We're in America. Yeah. Joe, there's a lot of money on this. Did I ever miss any game for you all? And he went, typical Joe. He went, yeah. Yeah, you did. And I went, oh my God, I've lost money. And he went, the one at Zedby where you come late off a hill. It's about 5 hours. 5 hours. And he said it, and they're all looked astonished. I goes, he's telling the truth. He's saying 1 year out.
I'll give you credit. I didn't say I'll give you credit. I made a joke about you missing a few, but then I'll give you credit. Making me sound like a right novice.
I'm kidding. I just got my own back because he said that.
Back on top.
So yeah, I agree about that. I think Leeds probably need to find somebody in that role.
Yeah, I do.
Because Rowan's going to be, if Rowan's coaching, it needs to be somebody who's going to get that cap.
And this is me completely outside. And one thing that really impressed me with Rowan Smith so far, and it's only somewhat little, is how invested he is into this. And what I mean by that is, there was the marathon that Kevin Sinfield and Rob Burrow did, or the run.
Yeah, he did it with him, didn't he?
He went, wow. He did it with him. Nearly every championship game I go to at minute is there.
Oh, he does.
Watching. And I said to him, he was at an Halifax game. I can't remember who they were playing. We were at the Shea. I said to him, what are you here for? Thinking I might be better gossip here. I might be watching a play. He went, I'm just taking as many games as I can, see what's going on. And we're asking questions about this player and that player and what's this like. And I thought he's really, he's just immersing himself in not just Leeds Rhinos, and he is doing that, but Rugby League full stop.
I don't think his family, he brought us to the show.
His family are here,
his family are here now, aren't they?
Have they arrived?
I think they will come in maybe next week, so he's got that to wrap in. But I think he's like that anyway, Matt. I think at Bradford, do you know, when we were at Bradford, and John Bastian never admit this.
So you'll do it for him.
But John was massive on Rowan at Bradford. He said some of the highest things I've ever heard. He said, he once got asked who was the best coach. No, I'm not kidding you. He said, he won't be far off the lad at Bradford, he said, to Rowan. He said, he's so intelligent. He said, because he's got a teaching background, I think he has. He said his communication to the players is unbelievable. He can put things across and likes to play this real fast rugby. And when he got the job at Leeds, I can remember thinking, rang John and said, John, have you had out to do with that? Because obviously you've been there 6 months. Typical John, don't be asking them questions. We got the old but he big shout out to John, by the way. We finished off the Magic Weekend in the all-you-can-eat Chinese buffet, which
Spent 5 hours on the toilet that night.
Nice.
Saturday night.
We finished off the Geordie adventure with an all-you-can-eat. It was lovely actually, and John got a picture. I don't know if John's been to many restaurants. Well, he said, "I'm gonna have a photo with the restaurant managers," and we were like, "It really is." And he went, "Excuse me," and he brought him over, and he's got this photo. He's got this photo with them, and he went, "Yeah." So it was the ending of a good day. I'm
trying to think what we haven't covered yet. Warrington. What do you think of Warrington?
But played very well, didn't they? I thought they played very well. Thought there were some good performances, weren't they? Within individual. George Williams is starting to show up, isn't he?
Little bit.
Getting into it a bit more. Well, certainly more than what he did a couple of weeks. And they played as a team. I think that was the first performance where they played as a team. It didn't look like a team of individuals, that one. It looked like a team performance, which I think in other Warrington games, I think there's a lot of individual. You normally say a lot of individual playing. I thought they played together.
Played brilliant. I'll tell you what I loved. I don't know if you're watching it. I'm watching Toby play for Huddersfield and I'm watching Wardle play.
They were both brilliant.
You've got it. And I were going, ooh, which fans are happy? It's like, I've got this in me.
Who won the deal?
Wardle put the feet on. And I was like, wow. And I've just got this voice saying, Toby can't do that. You know what I mean? Some of the fans, and then Toby's jumped in midair. Yeah. Wardle can't do that. And I was thinking, I bet you the exchanges were immense. You know, I bet your fans are going, and then you think, and I'd love to ask, you know, you look at, they both got the victories.
Yeah.
They both win for World Cup. It's fascinating.
It is.
It's absolutely, them two players alone. If Sky have got anything, you should put that one up.
That's good fun, isn't it?
You know, you're swapping clubs. You've got both at it like that. Both so different. Yeah. So different. I said Toby on stats is usually a high-end yardage. Toby certainly is probably the best, I'd say, in Super League at jumping up in the air and getting the ball. Toby probably lacks a yard or toe. Wardle's probably, they say, the fastest. I got told at Huddersfield he had the fastest recorded GPS, I think even faster than Innis. And I asked Innis.
Faster than Jai Field?
Yeah, but this was last year. Wardle got the highest. You can check that out for us, but I'm sure it was. Yeah, they reckon Innis said to me he is absolutely rapid. And you looked at when he put the feet on, and what I loved, he put the feet on, Ben Curry can shift. And when they went back inside a couple of times, they could have caught 6 tries to him.
Yeah.
And you know what I was thinking? If you had Ben Curry with Wardle and Ashton, I want to see them shift early. Mm-hmm. I don't think you do that late. I think when you get to halfway line, you go 1, 2, bang.
Well, you did it. You look at that first try.
You've got it.
First try.
What would you be doing? I'd be going number, and I'm going there early because if they get half a yard, it's all over. It were actually, do you know what? It was actually too many options. When they made the breaks, with that many people coming through middle, I'm thinking, oh my God.
Yeah, I agree. The two big things for me with Warrington at the minute, reason for hope. The young lads coming through, Fulis and Wrench.
Well, the Matty Nicholson.
I'm waiting for Craig to kick me under the table. So those two lads, I think they're looking like they're going to be serious players. And then the mid-season recruitment. Thomas McHale looks like a player.
Played unbelievable, didn't he? Yeah.
Well, he's box office, and he's got that hands, and defensive.
But he's big as well. Like that Williams try, he sets it all up. He bumps off those and over. Yeah, great try. He's the first one. He's been good for him. Jake, obviously, superb. And then Matty Nicholson had a great game. So I'm like, signing. So you go the two.
Wigan fans must be spewing.
Absolutely. Well, not as much as us.
We've done 20 hours on that for the last year, haven't we? But Wigan, I can't imagine the last time fans must have been so annoyed about losing a young talent.
I've made a promise, Matt, to myself.
If they are aware of what's coming. Yeah, because I mean, no doubt he's going to be...
The coach as well, that Pete's put the boot into Warrington.
Well, we did it last week, but I made a promise last night to myself if we got asked this, which I thought that we'd get asked about Matty Nico.
I couldn't help myself.
And just to explain quickly to people watching, and we can talk, we all talk, we have a laugh. Matty Nicholson was on board with us. He chose, I think, a couple of months ago to quite close to Matty. And he had his reasons for it. Maybe he felt Sometimes you do feel that, you know, I'm not saying I'm too close to M.I.A and Wigan, you know what I mean? I don't know, there's options. But as a player agent, how do you feel when you're watching somebody who's, you know, that happens? And again, when people say about being agent, what's the hardest thing about the job? I say, that's the hardest. You put your trust and your thing in something, and when that happens, it can be absolutely daunting. It's because if you see it coming, it's easy. Because the phone calls get less. A lot of players are not the most courageous. They are as that, but with that, they're not. You know, being a man that way, sometimes it's real.
You've told me some horror stories.
Horror stories. Yeah. This wasn't an horror story. It was an horror story in a way. But I watched the game, and I'll be brutally honest if I can. You are devastated, right? Like, so I dare say, because he'll tell me off, but I think I texted somebody and said, I hope you can guess who it might be. I hope you'll feel worse than me. So that's your guess. And didn't get much back. And just say, not the time, son, you know, and typical me, my timing's horrendous. But I sat there and Gailey, it only could have been Gailey. And I'll try and quickly tell you, because we're on the show, is this was the exchange. So it's a bit of fun here, by the way. I love M.I.A, love family. I like to talk honest, and it was, wow, some player, this Nicholson, Craig, that's on a group of more than 2 people. F off, knob, is my reply. Are you taking the piss? And then I've got 10 crying faces and lads have all come for me from every angle. So that's the type of banter you have when you do that happens.
You've got to have that though.
Of course you have. Of course
you've got to have that. We all have it. Do
you get that? Because we're going to ask you some questions one-on-one in a bit. Do you know if you've got a scoop? We call it a scoop in the old days. I don't know if they still do.
Yeah.
And somebody gets to that before you. Is that the worst feeling?
I think you need to answer that the first time to start.
It's somebody's eye dip, didn't they?
Honestly.
I'm saving that.
So it used to be when we were at League Express more than now, because paper goes out on a Monday, and what the way that the world's moved, you do stuff on it's all web and you put it out straight away. But at League Express, you can still hold it for Sunday night. So I'd get a story on a Tuesday, and I'd be a wreck all week.
Just no one else gets it.
And then it comes out, honestly, I'd been a grump for days.
You feel robbed, don't you?
You
it's
do.
That feeling of feeling
awful.
robbed or something.
I feel I've changed a bit now, where so long as I knew about it, I'm all right. Like, I knew about it, it's not end up world. Didn't get around to it, so be it, is what it is. If I haven't heard about it, so there were one.
It'd be fascinating to hear him after
this.
There
were one, I were ready to kill him. I was ready to kill him. It was Lachlan Coote last year, right? I had no idea. Honestly, I had no idea. And it came out, and I will.
And I think he'd said to me, Matty, did you know?
And I said,
yeah, probably 4 months ago.
So it's come out, and I've gone. So I've rang Craig. Have you seen this? He went, oh yeah, I knew weeks ago. I put phone down on him. I was fuming. I had absolutely no idea.
I suppose as an agent, it is when that happens to you, but you do wish the lads the best. I genuinely do, with quite an honest things, but it's the same kind of thing, because you can go and ID Matt Nicholson's no genius about that, you know, that's quite an easy ID. I think I remember telling you a long time before, and lads, you know, saying there's a kid coming, I thought could have a real chance of going all the way, and he proved it, didn't he? He was immense, wasn't he? I mean, that is, you thought about his Wigan debut when he scored 2, and his second game he should have scored 2. I thought he did score 2, and he's had 2 games of Super League. He looks like he's the absolute real. Do you know, people talk, and I'm thinking, God. And there was that bit of backbiting with Warrington and Wigan. Do you know what? And I sent a private message to what I feel about it, and I said it wasn't aimed at Darryl. It was, you know, Darryl got a bit of bad press for it. Really, it's just Warrington. It was not Darryl. It's Matty Pete saying that they've got their own academy, they've got their own things. Why are they doing this? Do you know what? I've had a week to reflect. It's probably a bit of life in it. Who's won?
Decades,
I didn't see Wigan do it. I'd never seen Wigan do it.
I think
you're
talking 25 years.
25 years ago.
No, Wigan are famous for taking the creme of the crop of a young talent coming through. A bit like Man
United. They do it before they go over clubs.
That's when the 16, 18.
This is different. This is somebody being in your
academy.
Last
few years.
Yeah, this is.
It's a bit. I'm not saying it's not a big one. It is a big.
I mean, ultimately, Warrington will turn around and go, "We think it'll be fantastic business. We've paid like 40 grand for him or something, haven't they? Something like that. Though, in 5 years' time, they'll probably go, "That's best business we've ever done." I think the criticism you could maybe have of Warrington over the years is that they've signed a lot of young lads in similar style, and they've not kicked on. Lewis Johnson never got the opportunity.
That's what Matty said, didn't he? Matty said how many of them have actually kicked on, but
but then he's gone to OKR, and I know he's had the injuries this year, but he was great last year. Never got that opportunity at Warrington. You can look at Keenan Brand. He was at Widnes.
The biggest one I thought, the biggest one who never, if you said to me, was the biggest young player at Warrington who never, and he did do all right, I suppose, but I thought going to be with Rhys Evans. Rhys Evans, I thought, was just destined to be Great Britain and England for 15 years.
I thought you were Morgan Smith.
Yeah, no, we did Morgan last week, but at Morgan's, Rhys Evans, he debuted against Leeds at 17, 18. He scored on Callum, he hit a crash ball on Callum, and he was scoring 50-yard tries every week in the reserve. He couldn't put him in the reserves like now. He was that good. Mm-hmm. And then, I don't know what, injuries, whatever, but 22, 23, we're all over.
Yeah.
It was the biggest thing, like I said. I know Ben, I thought Ben did well, and Ben got 60 games, and Glenn Riley and James Mick, they all got that era of them that got to the final. Ben Elliwell, they got to the final of the academy under Bastian. But Rhys was going to be they didn't look for another centre for next 15 years.
But just injuries with Rhys, so wasn't it? Rhys just had so many bad injuries.
But then, like you said, with Warrington, if you've got injury and you're 22, they can just make one phone call. Next thing you know, there's an 180 grand player coming, and you're like, Greg Inglis is a coming guy. That's your problem with Warrington. They've always been able to pull a trigger financially to replace any lack of form on youngster. Bang.
But they're giving him a chance now.
100%. Fuelless looks exceptional.
Well, they're not going to replace Josh Shan, are they? They're just putting Fuelless.
Would you?
No.
And I didn't think he looked that fast. They timed him. They said he did one at fastest.
Second fastest.
And I thought he liked to add a toe.
Fuelless did 206 metres yesterday.
Wow. But he got 70 on that one run.
Well, yeah. still 130.
Listen, still I think he could be a super. He's that good. Do you know what? Isn't it good for England? You've mentioned Morgan Gannon, Joe mentioned Joe. We're all mentioning these young players, Mikey Lewis. I keep Morgan Smithies, right? He's still
he was the one.
Morgan Smithies, right now. When I say this is now. He gets so disrespected. Do you know what me tell you why? Players talk about young players, and he never gets mentioned because they all think he's 30.
Yeah.
Everyone says, "Oh, you've been about long time." Because no, he's 21.
Yeah. 20,
and they go, "Eh?" And I go, no. We go talking about Mikey Lewis. He's same age as Morgan. Yeah. Who Morgan looks like a veteran.
Yeah. Morgan Smithy, for me, this is me. If I'm picking my strongest England team for tomorrow, Morgan Smithy's in the team.
Oh, and Matty P, I'll give Matty his due. Matty's words to me were, he said the same as what I probably pinched his line, if I'm being honest there, because he said he gets a lot of people tell me about youngsters, and they never mention Morgan. Morgan is the real deal.
Yeah.
Week in, week out, and you're about not liking defending. Go and watch Morgan.
Yeah. Oh, he's complete.
It's like he's did it.
He's honestly, he's probably the best defender in Super League. He probably is the best defender. He's
strong, I think he's got the best rap on the floor I've ever seen.
Yeah, his wrestle's unbelievable. And do you know what? I'm going to give a credit to local club here. Nearly every player that comes out of Siddle, the wrestle's unbelievable.
Matty Nico.
The wrestle's I don't know what they do at Siddle with these young lads, but they're all the same. They're all unbelievable at wrestle.
And for a team that wins every game, it's not normally the case, is it?
Shout out to Siddle. I'm an Ellender, so that's hard for me to say because we hate Siddle, but you got to give it them. Siddle are unbelievable.
Oh, it's immense. But we've just mentioned the future's bright, isn't it? We've had a magic weekend. We're talking about young players here, which is absolutely Toulouse, Mikey Lewis, Matty Nico.
There's loads of Fuelless, right? We've got to start talking these boys up, though. We do. One we've not.
Do you know any senior?
Yeah, I mean, ain't it right?
Give him my debate on senior. Come on.
This is fascinating. This because about 12 months ago, we must have had hours and hours and hours of conversations about the seniors, about, you know, this and that, and you were adamant. Adamant they'll come through.
100%.
And I've never known you go into bat for anyone like you did those two.
No,
Like you go into bat for all your players, but you were real stubborn on it.
Because they were they were gazelles.
Yeah.
There were young lads growing into a body, and there wasn't natural rugby players, and there wasn't people who lived their life around rugby. So they didn't. But I knew once they got enough hours.
Yeah.
People say, "Oh, Morgan Smithies were born to play rugby." I reckon Morgan were tackling in Brown. I think Morgan had somebody in a headlock, and he was saying, honestly, I think Mikey Lewis probably had that. These two lads didn't. They look like triathletes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The total opposite of what the family is, most lovely family, but they've got a laid back way about themselves.
Yeah.
I knew once the hours got in. Now, I think Guinness is an outside chance. I'm going to say it next 2 years to beat England winger.
Oh, that's big.
I know, it's a big call. I think he's getting that. Every game he gets even better. They said he couldn't carry. What happens now?
That was a big criticism. I
think he's done 200 metres. Can you read me stats, Matt? I would say he did 200 plus metres. How's that for a big call?
That done.
And I've never seen Toby outworked on carries, and he outworked Toby. He was getting to the ball before Toby. You know, we were talking about the players saying, make it yours, make it yours. He was going in front of Toby, get it carried. I could tell Toby's thinking, he's got the carry. It was brilliant how he did it.
Craig's told him so.
Well, I dare say because Toby will kill me, but he. And I think that little bit where he missed the try, bit of footwork in there, and he tried to get it down. And we know he's a 10 GPS man. Mm-hmm. We know in full flight, it's all over.
Yeah.
There's nobody, and I don't think there's anybody. I even think Jai Fields won't catch him, because once he's in his top gear is probably the highest top gear I've seen, because the stride's that big. I think it's like Bish in the day. Yeah. I'm not saying off a standing start.
That's exactly what I was going to say. His running style reminds me of Bish.
Yeah. Or not a standing start.
Acceleration.
But if he hits a ball running, and he should have backed his send, he'd have scored an easy try. He went inside.
I think that's.
Did you see that bit? No. He got clear, didn't he? And it's like game over.
Chance to go outside.
And he's looking there, and he kicks it, and he ended up kicking it. I went, oh no.
That's the one thing for me with Innes, that he can get better at the minute he's finishing.
Yeah.
In the corner.
That's the dive.
Yeah. He's not quite got that yet, but he's come on leaps and bounds. But you know, there's loads of young players across the comp. We can stick at Huddersfield. The one who's come on for me this year is Ollie Wilson.
Oh, yeah. Another
but
one.
Owen Trout.
Trouty, day by day.
You go to Leeds, Gannon is. He blows my mind when I watch him. Yeah.
We're going to win World Cup in 4 years.
You got Newman. Newman phenomenal. Saints. You got Wellesby. You've got Dodd. There's loads across.
Scary
everywhere. We've got so much.
Do you know when we beat them? When we beat them 2-0, the Aussies. We did a show and I don't know if you see it. It scares me because there's another one coming. There's a one underneath them that we're talking about that is going to be absolutely exceptional. I think we can put together an England side based under 22s now, and I don't think you'd be far off, as in cyber props, because it's very hard to be a good prop at 22 to be that. But I think we've just said Ollie Wilson, Gannon, Trout, Smithies.
What's Matty English compared to Ollie?
Matty's 26, 25.
Yeah.
Ollie's really young for Ollie and Trout were in the England Academy one. Yeah. And then you've got the one who I think's going to come, Tom Allroy's going to come. Tom just needs to run the games. Because he is phenomenal, absolutely. He could be anything. So you look at that, and then it's an exciting time.
I mean, Wakefield have some as well. That I just wish.
Dorian Lewis.
And beyond that, Isaac Shaw, Yusuf Aydin, Sam Esse. Sam Esse is 18.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy,
some
isn't it?
Serious talent.
Wigan have got some young props coming through as well.
Warrington's.
Well, how old's Ethan Havard? He's only 20 still, isn't he?
Havard were phenomenal on Saturday.
And then we've got really the lads who left to go towards which you've got Young playing in NRL. You've got Harry.
There's Harry Rushton, who's in a few games at Canberra.
How old's Farnworth? Is he?
22.
He's a little bit
22,
old, but not,
23. I think.
And then you've got a few that aren't playing. So Bailey Hodgson's out there. He'll probably come through at some point.
It's mad, isn't it?
It's exciting
absolutely
times.
exciting.
And they're all athletic, aren't they? That's the thing.
We haven't mentioned Truman, of course.
And Truman, he's on 23?
Yeah, 23.
Stozza. We've got one here. We've got asked on a comment.
Harry Smith, is he a bit 3 years?
No, Harry's their age.
Harry's probably, talk about Ollie Wilson, most improved.
Harry, but he was exceptional against us, wasn't he, that test series?
Yeah, he was, but then he took Wigan team and he struggled a little bit, didn't he? But he's been brilliant this year.
Yes, I totally agree with you. Ollie Wilson and Harry are the two that have surprised me, because we've known Ollie's going to come, but he just looks a different man. Just look physically so impressive.
He's an animal. He's massive, isn't he?
Yeah, and athletic.
Jake Wardle.
Yeah, it's only 23.
What's he, 23?
20.
No, he's older than that, Jake.
21.
I'm sure he's older than that.
Is he? No, he played in Jackson's England side, so he is, you're right. He played
like
in
23,
22, 20, still young.
Yeah, still young. Best days are ahead of him.
We've got asked a question, actually, to name a youngster to look out for. I'm going to have to wrap it up now. I'm going to
I said...
Somebody sent a message in for us all to ask us all a question.
Can I go first then?
You can, Mark. Have time to think about it, Joe.
Is this for next year, Arthur?
Well, yeah.
No, just future. Just you're making a call for
Matt
future.
Simpson, Leeds Rhinos, for centre coming through at Leeds. He's obviously had 3 games this year anyway, which way before expected. Still 17, just about to turn 18. But yeah, as with always, if the pathway's there, who knows when he'll get his next chance? But I think he's going to be a real deal.
Right, I don't watch as much of the reserves and academy as you boys, right?
Yeah.
The one that I watched and caught my eye were a lad at Saints called Juma Sambu.
You mean our player?
I didn't even know. I watched him and thought he's. I don't watch.
He's injured now. He's Juma. He's just gone. Yeah, he's terrible.
So I say I don't watch as much as
he's
you do.
He's had a few first team appearances.
He's played at Cass.
He's had one.
Just one.
Yeah.
I watched him and thought, wow, he's a bit.
He's like an international basketball player. If we don't get him down, we're going to get him down to do basketball. They reckon he's slam dunk upside down. I'll throw one in. Connor Barley. I did it because I knew he was Trinity covered for Connor Barley. I've called him out. I'm kidding. I'll leave it at George Delaney.
Right.
Would be one to look out for me. He's a prop. He's at Saints. He's as athletic as a prop as I ever seen. He's Matty Lee's type player, but probably bigger and probably going to be 3 or 4 kilos above. He's one of the most exciting young talents I've ever come across. That's not putting pressure on the kid.
Where's he?
He's played first team once against Cass. He's only 18.
For Saints?
For Saints, I've never. If you see his carry, he's got the ability to come onto the ball at full pace, like a winger's pace, in a props, raw-boned JP type physique. But he's probably nearly enough a 10 GPS runner with no fear. There's no handbrake.
That's what I love about Matty Lees.
You've got it.
Yeah, no handbrake.
Honestly,
Matty Lees, but like 6'3", and
he's
6'4".
It's absolutely.
Takes it on the burst like in the old days.
By the way, if I'm saying that and other agents are watching it, don't do what you normally do and send 15 DMs and try and, please.
Yeah, be careful with this section. Well, my lads first.
We'll have to put password on it.
I've got quite. We work with quite a few young lads who I'm excited.
Well, there's
about.
hundreds. I'm saying.
Yeah, so it's quite. I don't want to get myself in trouble, but I'd definitely go. We've recently took him over last month. I think, who Dad said I'm going to go with. he knew I'd go with him. Connor Barley. I think he's 17 and he's played a couple of games in the reserves and he's stood out. He's stood out fantastically. He'll probably be one of the next ones.
6'3", 100 now. I bet 98 now.
He's a centre. He's a centre. Massive. He's centre winger. We prefer him at centre personally, but you might see him at winger in the next year or two.
He should have played. I thought they were going to play him this week, honestly.
Well, really? My next comment was I think he'll be the next one after that's bad of me. What's
Zach Fishwick?
Zach Fishwick after Zach. I think
Did well.
He did very well. I think he's the next one to watch after Zach. I think you'll see him probably later on this season. And
we've got a picture. We did a coaching thing. We had a bit of a laugh with him last week here, and to give you an idea how physically big he is, there's a lad called Leo Tennyson. A shout out to Leo. Leo's the biggest player in Super League, without a doubt. Sorry, in academy. So Leo 6'6",
academy, yes.
Maybe 5.
He's 17.
So he's bigger than Will Mayer. He's got Will Mayer by about that much. He's a size 17 foot. I'm not kidding you.
Has to import his shoes from Australia because they're the only shoe company that go in his size in rugby boots.
Leo is, and he's got to find his body, Leo. Leo's going to take time. It's not going to come. He's going to have to learn to run that, But I'm looking at Leo stand up, and then I looked at Connor, and I was like, wow. Leo makes everyone look like Joe. Leo makes everybody look small. He didn't make Connor. Connor was stood tall, and I'm like, how big are you, Connor? And then he went, I think I'm 6'3", 6'4", and I'm like, huge. And he's at the right place at the moment as well. I think with Danny, Danny thinks a bit of him, so it's probably the perfect time.
Brilliant. I don't know if do we need to wrap up there? Do we have to do the obligatory Bradford chat, or do we leave?
No, I think.
Do you want to do?
Respectfully so. What you can do is give Halifax a preview for tonight, York.
Yeah, big game.
It's a great game. Hey, listen, Halifax are on fire. They've won 11 out of 12.
Yeah.
They're playing good rugby. It's funny actually. If you look at the league table and the points difference, take out Lee and Fev, Halifax have got best points difference by about 180 points.
Yeah, it's a big difference.
Wow.
Defence is strong. Joe Keys has been unbelievable for Halifax. Him and Matty G.
Yeah.
Been really good. York, I think they're missing Matty Marsh, aren't they, this week? Which is a big loss if he don't play.
We went last week to York, and Fordy just loves that completion. It'll be a game of whether that completion. I tell you what, if he's playing, another youngster is playing tonight.
Levi.
He's playing well. Well, what'll be interesting, I think, he's playing left edge, isn't he?
Yeah.
So Halifax's right edge centre is Ben Tibbs, who's now getting a run of games. He's been phenomenal.
He's scoring a lot.
Yeah, they've all been bad.
So those, you got two.
Did he get banned the other centre for the 3 punches?
Worthington, Greg Worthington got banned 3 matches, yeah.
Nice uppercut, nice couple
didn't miss, did he? See Maloudy's face after?
Yeah.
I won't mess with
I've still got Allroyd as me heavyweight.
I tell you what, I won't mind seeing them go up against each other. Greg and Tom after.
I've slogged Tom with them bombs. I think in the farmer's hands. If the farmer eats you, it's good night.
Listen, I ain't messing with either of them. But then Titus is cases this week. So I think Simon Grigg said this on at Fans Forum. They've got like a specialist sports later coming to defend his case. They're picking up and got 8 matches. Well, grade F for that.
Yeah. Greg did.
No, Titus for picking up Malouda.
Oh God!
So
right.
Have you seen the video?
Well, that's what Gailey got done for.
Yeah. But I mean, Gailey got what 5 games for both.
Johnny Lawrence won it.
Gwazi's got a grade F. So if he's found guilty of that, it's 8 games minimum.
Because it's that. If somebody's injured and you're trying to pick him up, it can be that dangerous.
Yeah, exactly. They've got to protect it. And Maloudy got 8 for doing it.
To be fair, I'll give an example.
But he got done for the eye tackle as well.
I'll give an example to make people, I guess, understand a bit why it is so dangerous. That in my university in America, they were playing basketball. Big, I think it was nearly the playoffs for them in the conference tournament. One of the players fell down, screamed, holding his leg. So they're like, okay, let's get him up. Wrapped ice around him, picked him. The physios didn't know how, but picked him up. Screamed louder than any the scare. When it's like the scream. I'll never forget it. And they actually said the fact they picked him up broke his leg. He broke his leg picking it up because it was done on his tent. I can't remember the exact medical reason. I'm awful with science, but they said how it held it together in the position he was laid down, and the fact they picked him up made it separate, and his scream was his legs separating.
It's not great to look, because regardless, massive health and safety thing. I mean, a massive.
Hey, listen, you can't defend.
It's a terrible look into when you've got somebody in rugby. They don't dive like football. I get it in football when you're pulling, when Beckham did that flick on what we call the Argentine lad. And it looked like Simone. It was the most disgusting thing you've ever humanly seen. But rugby lads don't go down easy, do they? And if they do, I mean,
it's just
Maloney's a bit of a grub, isn't he?
Yeah, this is just me. I've had this.
Maloney, sorry.
I've had this all year, and I've gone into that. I'm not defending it. I just think 8 games.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think the nature of that.
Is Maloney sticking up for him? Is he standing up for him?
The nature of that incident was that Maloney started it. Got away with murder to an extent, got a punch as a punishment, but then it wasn't like a high tackle and the player's gone down and no one knows if his neck and spine. Maludi was walking on, then he dropped to his knees, so it was more
he's crawling, isn't he?
He was annoyed because he's like, you've done this, get up, don't try and get out of it now. And yes, they've got to punish them because they've got to reiterate this message.
Agree completely.
But
yeah.
it can't be 8 games.
Yeah.
Can't be.
I agree. But no, it should be a good game. Yeah, for me, those two are comfortably best at rest, along with Batley.
And York have just been, faltering. They weren't great against Barrow at that game, and they have been faltering. But it'll be. I'm sure Fordy will try and make it a tight game.
I think York playing one or two of the young lads as well. That makes it.
And it's at Halifax as well. So you've got Halifax slight favourites, but definitely a big.
It'll be a good game. It'll be a good game. The champ's good this year. It's just interesting who gets sick. For me, I can't see past Halifax, York, Batley being next 3.
No.
And then
Barrow would just keep winning.
Well, it looks like Barrow now. That defeat for Bradford's,
Yeah.
I think that might be a bridge too far because they've got some tough games left.
Yeah.
They're still saying Dewsbury and Worky going down, or is anyone's brave enough to say London?
London are just picking up a bit, aren't they?
I can't see Dewsbury winning more games for London for the rest of the year, and they need to win 2 more.
Yeah.
London, so
I was always Worky's biggest defender over a number 1 fan, and I think it's the writing might be on the wall now.
Just on that, finish off. We came out Magic Weekend, and Joe, one of his players, he's at
Whitehaven.
He's at Castleford. How big is he? Kieran?
6'4", 6'5".
So 6'5", and he's there, and we see Kieran stuff.
Above everyone, yeah.
You know what I'm going to say? Anyway, he's with a group of friends. Anyway, Joe's had about 8 pints, and he goes, Kieran, and Kieran goes like, hey Joe, or whatever, and then his mate said, oh my God, the fans have recognised you. So Joe's ego, Joe folded like that, and his mate goes, oh my God, they're laughing at him because they think he's been recognised. He's like, no, these are his agents.
Hey, just to wrap up, best bit of Magic Weekend for me, the very quick point, Sam Luckley, the only Geordie in Super League scoring and doing the Shearer celebration. I thought that was brilliant. That summed up Magic Weekend.
Success, Magic Weekend, yes or no? Hands up.
100% success.
Best one of best you've seen?
Yeah. And right, what was interesting for me? Really interesting for me. So I've gone up with my mates.
We saw you carrying about 12 pints like a dart.
As long as 3 of them.
Don't have too many of them. But 5 of them aren't really rugby fans. Well, they're not rugby fans. Yeah. So I said to him just out of interest at the end, what do you think of it? We go to darts, we go to racing, stuff like that. I said, how do you think it compares? And they went, it's just as good. Concept's just as good. Maybe a little bit more atmosphere between, things going on during the game or whatever, but pretty good. They were all in agreement. The biggest shortfall and the biggest weakness of Magic Weekend is the fans. They said not staying don't make sense. It ruins the atmosphere because you always have sparser crowd than it should be. They said Magic Weekend would be just 10 times better if it were sold out and it were full of atmosphere.
Is this really poor? So do you buy tickets for the game or for the whole day?
All day.
All day. You get there all weekend.
What you're saying there, Matt, is maybe they could look at it selling the games and then having a day pass and then a game pass. So if people do want to come in and watch their team, get rid of them and let's get the next ones in.
But I think
make a price difference.
Yeah, but I think the point was
it's very good value.
It's incredible value.
Oh no, I get it.
You can get weekend tickets for 40 quid. So 40 quid for a full weekend.
It's not like it's 40 quid for the day and a tenner for their team. Financially,
it's 40 quid for the weekend.
It's just because a lot of fans are only interested in their team.
Yeah, but the thing, and their point was, if it was sold out,
and the pissed.
But if it was sold out all day, the atmosphere would be insane, and make it so much better. So I think that we've got to put it on the fans,
and I think
a little bit. So you've got to stay out. You've got to support the sport.
Yeah, and you've got to get more non-rugby fans for the whole day and make it a boost or make it an enjoyable experience of the whole day, because knowing that the actual hardcore might drift in and out. You've got to, the women's football sold out Old Trafford, like we had 70,000 Old Trafford, because 30 to 40,000 of those tickets are either a fiver or given to schools or given out in projects. And I'm looking forward to the big bash weekend massively. I'm going to sit there for 2 days at Edinburgh non-stop. And I just hope.
Why don't you get on bench for Mark Aston if you can?
but this was the thing.
How many do you expect? This is what the only thing I'm worried about that weekend, and I'm going to get some neutral, football fans to come if you like, but I am worried because the only thing that stops that from being amazing is if there's only 4,000 or 5,000 there at one point.
Couldn't agree with that.
30% capacity, it's not enough. which IMG, when they come in, it's going to be a big thing, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's going to be all
100%.
based on.
But you'll only sell it. You'll only sell it on. It's great points you both made there, but they'll only sell it on the players, and the players. We've got to make more of the players. IMG have got to make superstars of your Mikeys. They've got to come and help us by going right. You know, look, clubs got this magnificent deal. It's a centralised deal for 6 players, sponsoring by a top sports brand in the world or whatever, and they should be absolutely just saying.
It's a big.
I reckon if it'd be interesting with people. If you follow Jack's or whether you haven't followed Jack's, it's all different. It's his own thingies. But one thing it will do is people looking at what is rugby league, because we all live in our little rugby league bubble, don't we?
Yeah.
And then you go and somebody says rugby league, you go, yeah, hit that one, Jack. So you get me.
This is it.
You get this now. So these youngsters will be stood there saying, so I hope that they use that. They might get a month before. I don't know how long Jacks them get when they earn the money. They're famous for a year, and then it's. I hope the Rugby League do something, or AMG do something, regardless of it being Jacks. Forget about Jacks now got 450,000 on Insta. So that's power. That's power. It could come out with 1 million followers on Insta. Get into him. Get all them who are on Love Islands to do. You could be like, get him. They've got it. IMG should be using that to say these are where the games are. Half the problem, do you know what they has? No one goes on our RFL website to actually look where the games are. So no one knows where there's a game locally. If you're in the middle of Harrogate, you thought, I just fancy watching a game of rugby. There would be no information unless you're one of us. I know people say, it's easy, just put game rugby league, didn't it? People don't. I think we've got to see, with your eyes. I'd love to see more with your eyes. When you see it, you see it around you. I don't see rugby league around us.
If you're not a rugby league fan and following the right pages, you probably wouldn't know the sport exists.
Yeah, we do it. The sport does a wonderful job of preaching to the converted, but not a great job of
bringing new people in.
Spreading the gospel
about the Magic Weekend and the big bashes. I've been to the darts 10 times, and I've been to the 2020 10 times, and it was 99% for the piss up. Now, there's no reason why the bash, and yes, we need superstars, and that helps, but darts players weren't superstars. Barney and everyone else.
How many jockeys are at races?
They only were because loads of people started going to the darts and they started picking some. So
I think Wayne Mardell changed everything, didn't he? When he come on to YF5, it became a party. He said, I can remember the week he did it because you've got Taylor and them, really generic, Eric Bristow.
No, but I'm not.
But God, they made it into fun, didn't they?
Yeah, but the point is, because it got the company who ran the darts and booked the venues, they made it about the session. And if I'm not saying it has to be sold on alcohol, but you need to fill the stadium.
There's nothing wrong with
when stadiums
doing
are full of people watching, the product's good, and that's how you get stars.
Well, people hated Toronto, right? People hated Toronto, didn't they? Because they were like, they're all at games, they're not watching game. And my simple argument was, right, Halifax get 1,500. If they had 5,000 in, but 3.5 and weren't watching game, were just drinking beer, do you think they'd be bothered?
Yeah.
No.
Well, they'd chuff. They'd be
It's
delighted.
going to be more for people to do around the stadiums, haven't they? We've said it last week.
You've got to be
Magic in between. He's brilliant. He's done a lot, to be fair to him. But old Simo, I mean, they had Simo interviewing people on the side.
We need more of that.
That should be pumped to a million. They should be doing loads more in between. They had that one singer when they actually got the singer. I didn't know him, to be honest, but he actually got a bit of people. People were jiving. They got going, didn't they?
Craven Street's the best example that's come in and could be done. Craven Street's amazing, but we need. And what was interesting, just the last thing on this, when we were planning the weekend and everything, all lads planned that they maybe only watch 2.5 games over the weekend. They stayed throughout Saturday. Didn't leave stadium once. Because it were enjoyable just being there drinking and having a chat. No, there's a try here and
which is
I can honestly say, Matt, that's 5 years now we've done it. We get a box because I like having a bit of crack. We all sit together. We have the laugh going. John Bastian texted me on the morning and said it's just the best day of the year. He's at last 2 years and he just said I love it. It's the old thing for me. You go down, you get your breakfast, we laughed our head off going down. You finish off the night with a bit of food. You're all buzzing, your atmosphere. We sit next to the side street when we were going into the stadium. The Saint fans have got fireworks out. And I'm like, there was a scene which would go back, it's hilarious, it's like a comedy sketch. So you've got this pink Saints things, and it's got these lads, and there must have been 17, and they're looking at the 4 Wigan kick lads who were there, and they're all holding each other back, and they're going, come on there, and I'm like, this is rugby league, this never happens in rugby league, and it was happening. But Big John's walked between, bloody hell, he's like laughing, and look at these, and it was like a comedy, you know, and it was a bit of atmosphere.
The thing that I think it'd be an idea, you might just shoot it down, but NFL do it, and NFL, it's not revitalised because it is massive, but it's actually brought a lot of buzz, and it's a really famous thing called the NFL Red Zone. They do it on Sky Sports now, where all the games in NFL are on at the exact same time. So when it's on, they get a channel, and all they do is show the exciting. They just show the exciting plays and the touchdowns. What was if Rugby League did something like that, just to get you watching? You watch, you see the try, you see a play, you see someone do a nice run on an amazing tackle, and it's just all the different games showing little clips.
And you could throw Championship into that.
Yeah, and you could do. Oh, it'd be brilliant, wouldn't it?
3 o'clock Championship.
Brilliant, wouldn't it?
Games at the same
time. Do you know a massive problem though? We learnt it, and I'm not going to say where we learnt it because it's not fair, but I don't know if that happens with you, but we're out with younger people discussing watching Sky, and they all went, we haven't got Sky. So I said, what do you mean you haven't got Sky? We haven't got Sky. So I automatically said, how do you watch Rugby League then? We're allowed to say, what's it called?
Stick.
Yeah, Fire Stick. Yeah.
So I said, they go, yeah, everybody watched it on the phone on da-da-da-da, and I've gone, so if Sky are not getting the credit to what they're paying for us for, and we're not buying the Skies because no one's watching it on Sky, forget about that deal.
Yeah, well,
so how the hell they stop that?
In fairness, that's the same for every, because it'll happen in football.
Every sport, innit? That's every
sport. What happened there then? If
you do it deeper though, the worrying thing would be you could easily, if you break up the typical rugby league audience, you would say that there might be a high percentage who have alternative means of watching a game. And because we're such a small community anyway, it could be 50% of rugby fans watching through alternative methods. Whereas in football, the numbers are so high.
Yeah, but I'd say that's every sport.
It is
every sport.
No, it is every sport. But the problem is the rugby league market is so small anyway. If you take half off that,
I don't know. Yeah, but UFC, MMA was like that. MMA 10, 12 years ago before Conor, they still had more illegal streams than any. That is the sport where you illegally stream it, and
what's the answer to that?
You can't. There isn't one.
You'll never see it.
The illegal streams now, it's like...
they're illegal?
That's what...
Yeah, those sticks are illegal.
Delete that, Sam, what I've just said.
It's no secret, you know, everyone knows that
that's what Dana White goes mental about, isn't he? He loses
it's a massive problem. It's a massive problem.
Same with piracy DVDs and piracy. It's always going to happen.
Yeah, but I'm thinking, how is somebody going to pay for it then if they're not getting paid?
Well, it's all relative, isn't it? You know, in football, it's all the numbers are relative.
Yeah, but ours are small, like you said.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But I think it could arguably, I bet it'd affect rugby league more than any other sport.
And on that cheery note, we'll finish.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me. Hopefully Mick's back next week. And,
if we can find him.
The Bulls fix. You can get your Bulls fixed.
I mean, this only goes out tomorrow morning. He might still be missing. So
if he is,
the appeal's still open.
I'll be worried if that's it. He'll be at the Shea tonight. He'll be watching.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Needs to watch one of his local teams win a game, don't they? And on that note, we're getting off. Thank you to everyone who's listened. Thanks as ever to the gents. I'd say we'll be back next week. I probably won't. These lads will. Enjoy your rugby league, and thanks for listening.